Today's a special episode. It's going to be a fun live, very informative, hopefully not too controversial. I'm excited for y'all to get in here and we can explain what we got going on, but we're going to be ranking the top exercises for back pain. So I'm excited to get into this. All right. I'm going to lay out the rules, the flow, how it's going to go. It's going to be a good time. Yeah, I know it's late, y'all. This is a recorded video. This will be published later as a full video on YouTube, so no worries on that. But let's get rolling into it, all right? Let me think about it. Who's in here? Say what's up in the chat. "14 exercises today. 7 categories. We're going to go through it and break them down. All right? Let me intro this YouTube video. Where should I put this? Let's probably get it up out of here. Okay. Ready. Today we're going to be ranking the top 14 back pain exercises. As a back expert, not somebody who studied through school and credentials, I'm an expert due to living in pain for so long. I became professional level with back pain. And so my experience with these is firsthand, and I know exactly the mistakes, the missteps that happened. I know exactly where you fall into the traps over. Let me redo that. I think the back expert's going to get people. Y'all in here, huh? Target weight for back extension. Good questions. Run it back. Today we're going to rank the top back pain exercises. We have 14 on the list and we have 7 categories, and we're going to give a final score for each. I have lived through the years of chronic back pain in a loop, stuck trying these different exercises, and I never fully understood why some worked and some kept me in the same vulnerable, sensitive state of chronic issues in my back. So we're going to cover the 7 categories for each that we're basing our ranking on. 1, we are going to base it on, first category is ease of entry. How accessible is it to start training when you're at a sensitive place of pain? 2, what is the short-term value? How fast does it work to give you relief and progress? 3, long-term value. How well does it help you rebuild and proliferate tissue to actually change your spinal structure? Then we have 4, scalability. How much of a route is it to concurrent next steps, or is it just a dead-end drill? Category 5, the potency. How relevant is it actually to most cases of back pain? Does it have the potential to heal or the potential to harm? I thought that would sound smoother, but potent to me means it's a high risk but also high reward. It's very relevant to the problem area, which is why it could actually help rebuild the weakest part of your body. Category 6, we're going to rank it on safety. How easy is it to mess up? How easy is it to cause a flare-up in back pain? Category 17, -10. Category 7 is simplicity. How difficult is it to execute these exercises on form? What kind of equipment do you need? How easy is it to perform it perfectly without any risk? Category 8, we don't have an 8th category. And then we're using those 7 categories to give an overall ranking. We have from tiers F, which is really bad, and S. So F, D, C, B, A, S. Supreme. So we're going to find a place for each of these back exercises. It is in my humble opinion. I am a back expert. but in the sense that I was so good at having back pain, I became an expert of having back pain. So my credibility is through lived experience of trial and error and being stuck with all of these. And I can reflect on now why some of them didn't progress me to now being pain-free, able to use my back in reckless, strong, crazy positions and have no fear, no flare-up, to take my back from re-injuring in a sneeze to now being able to put my body weight in my elbows and fold like a pancake. I had to build myself slowly using a mix of these exercises, and I wish I knew back then the order of how it actually progressed and which ones were worth the time and which ones were not. So, we're going to get into it, y'all. What's going on? Those are the rules here. We have 14 exercises we're going to go through. All right. Let's start with the worst. Likely the worst. Okay? First exercise. Quick fix YouTube instant relief stretches. The sort of stuff you see where people show you a 30-second reel of how to flop your knees up and twist your legs like a scorpion airplane and try to get that one pop that's going to let go of all the tension of years. Like this. Any of this right here. Any of this. The twisting, the flopping. Okay, let's take it through the categories. 1, ease of entry. How easy is it to get down on the ground and just start flopping your knees and twisting your spine in different directions? It's very easy to do. However, how accessible is it when you're actually in pain? It's probably pretty easy. So category 1 of accessibility, anyone can do it. It's just such a bad one that I don't even think it's going to do well on any of these categories. But yeah, ease of entry, I guess you could find a gentle way to stretch. 2, what's the short-term value? Maybe relief. That's what you got. With any of those, you have maybe relief. Let's look again. Stretch like this to stop low back pain fast. This isn't necessarily a diss to the videos I'm using, but we're just going to call it what it is. I was a patient. I was a sufferer trying to get out of back pain. Finding videos like these and trying this stuff, and it's not a personal attack to it. I'm just reflecting. This category of any relief-based stretches, any of the videos you see, any of them where you plop your leg up, you twist, you do a little crack back, and you're trying to snap your spine back into place, it's never going to work. So the short-term value is maybe you feel relief, something lets go. 3rd category, long-term value, none. 0, failed. 4th category, the potency. 4th category, scalability. How scalable are these? Or are they a dead-end drill? Is it a route of progression that you take at easy level, more intense? No. It is a dead-end drill. All of those airplanes, windshield wiper, kick, scorpions, dead-end drills, which don't lead to anywhere. 5, the potency. How direct do they get to the spine? Is it risky? Could there be potential reward? Is it relevant? I think it's relevant. I think you could twist your spine and you're definitely getting to the problem area, so it's a potent stimulus, but the odds of it being a productive stimuli, of all the ways to train tissue in the body, you could hold tension with holds and isometric holds, you could do controlled range of motion with muscular activation, even stability and more balance-based things, introducing quick strength and stability at every range and every direction. That passive stretching through passive flopping around of your limbs and just twisting joints of your spine and trying to feel like the equivalent of this, but on your back, that's probably the least productive way to do it. So it's potent, but it's not done well. The 6th category, safety. How safe is it? Maybe you'll probably be fine. You'll probably feel nothing. You might feel relief. The risk of re-injury is there, though. If you are coming off of disc injuries in the past and you had serious spinal issues and you do enough of this really lazy flopping around of your limbs and your knees and getting your spine flexed and hugging them, you for sure can hurt yourself. And so, last one, simplicity. How easy is it to do correct? It's not very simple. With all of those, there's no point of form. No one's going to cue you, feel this, feel that. That's not even the goal. It's just to move stuff and feel something. So the overall rating for any of these relief-based easy stretches, this one's going to the F tier. It's never going to fix your problem. It is very tempting. It feels like exactly what you would want and crave, which is why all the content creators make their own versions of those videos. If they care about views, they're going to make endless reels of quick fixes, quick drills, 30-second instant relief, because they know people search for it, people are going to click on that title, and it's just never going to heal you. So that one's done, exercise 1. And the whole bucket of instant relief-based stretching, I wouldn't even bother. Second one, we're going to go into decompression. When you have a disc herniation and you start getting maybe stenosis, you might have DDD or bony growths, any injuries along the spinal canal, you can then become intolerant to the compressive forces of gravity through the day. Maybe jogging becomes painful. Maybe just by your 7th hour of being awake and up walking, you feel the ache on your spine. So naturally, the desire comes to start hanging from a bar and feeling the relief of your spine opening up. So I got addicted to doing that. I was shown to do it. Let's take a look. So this decompression, this one right here, boom. Hanging from the bar for dear life, holding on. This became a daily routine for me. It felt great at first. Let's break down what the real value is of this exercise using our categories, okay? So first, ease of entry. Most people can hang from a bar. If you can't, you can get flipped upside down on an inversion table. But I guess with ease of entry, I really mean beginner friendly. Most people can get into it. It's not a hard, demanding exercise that you need a lot of strength for. So it's a pretty ease of entry. It's pretty easy. 2, short-term relief is there. So category 2, what's the short-term value? Probably high if you had history of disc injuries and anything significant along the spinal canal. So you're going to feel the relief of that increased space, and that's what's going to make you hooked on it, because it will feel like a huge relief, and it's opening up pressure. 3, what's the long-term value? I don't think there's that much. Actually, I think there's actual risk of using it overly. Every single day for months to years, you can become addicted to the thing that gave you relief on day 1, day 10, day 30, and you're still 2 years into your journey with your back injuries and back pain, and you're still doing the same Band-Aid drills that helped you back then. Back Band-Aids. If you're not familiar, let me explain, let me show. On this episode of Back Band-Aids, are you ready? Back Band-Aids. I made that part of a reel years ago. I redid the Zoe 101. But back Band-Aids, endless drills and working through pain. Basically just trying to feel good enough to be okay this week. And you just keep reusing that. So now where the risk comes in with something like decompression, if you actually understand what's going on and why it feels good to do it, then you can understand pretty easily where it can become risky. So Decompression feels really good because it opens up all the space along the disc, and any compressed nerve probably gets less, it gets alleviation from that issue. But what prevents the spine from just ripping apart? When you hang from a bar and the discs are being opened up, why does it alleviate and open but nothing gets injured and rips? It's because there's other connective tissue all along the spine, like anterior longitudinal ligament, you got posterior longitudinal ligament, you have ligaments that run both sides all the way up and down the spine, not to mention all the small paraspinal muscles. So it's not completely passive like you think. You're hanging, your spine's not working with conscious strength, but connective tissue is working to keep it from tearing and separating too much. So it's the equivalent of going into a passive joint stretch all the time. And when you do that, you can form laxicity issues and get too much instability at those vertebrae and actually strain the ligaments. And then so what used to give you relief can actually become aggravating, and you grow an intolerance to decompression. And so you didn't solve the compression intolerance. You still don't feel good through the day. And now you have decompression intolerance. And so you don't want to spam that and just be addicted to it forever. That's my opinion with the long-term value. 4, scalability. It doesn't really scale much. You just hang your body weight. That's all you got. 5, the potency. How direct to it, the problem area of the spine. It's pretty potent. It's hitting directly right at your disc herniation. It probably opens up right there. It's alleviating pressure at every vertebrae. So it's directly there, which is why you can tweak yourself on it too. So decompression is very potent to give relief, and it can also tweak you. Then we got safety. We got 6, safety. The safety is pretty safe. And then last one, simplicity, very simple. So hanging overall, I'm going to put it a D. Not terrible for you, not a complete waste of time, but it's a back Band-Aid. It's valuable in the beginning. It's going to become less valuable over time. It's a diminishing reward. So let's go to another equivalent of this. Third exercise, McKenzie cobras, pushing your spine passively into extension, which in the beginning may really help post-disc injury, where most herniations are coming laterally posterior. So most herniations are posterior, sometimes to the side laterally, and you form this routine of getting into a hyperextended position, in theory, to help migrate the disc back to where it should be within the spine column and help support the protrusion from going out any further, and you can change where you're going laterally with your hands and all these variations. So the idea is you hyperextend, and that gives you relief. Let's take a look. Cobras. Another thing I got addicted to. So, same story as the decompression. I gotta stick to the format. I keep wanting to just rant on these instead of stick to the format. It'd be easier to understand if I just follow the flow. Oh, y'all want a sneak peek at the exercises we're ranking? I'll tell y'all because we're on live. We got the YouTube 30-second instant relief stretches, did that. We got decompression. We got cobras. McGill Big 3 is next. We got glute bridge, cat-cow, deadlift, RDL, six-pack ab work, reverse hyper, seated good morning, 90-degree back extension, 45-degree back extension, Jefferson curl. That's what we're covering, 14 exercises. So, 1, what's the ease of entry? Very accessible. Anyone can lay on the ground, and you start with your elbows, and you can just hold there. If you're very sensitive, you just literally lay on your stomach and build tolerance. So it's a very beginner-friendly exercise, even if you're in pain. 2, what's the short-term value? It can be very rewarding in the short term. Physical therapists use it to literally try to immediately localize nerve pain, and they will go trial and error with the patient to see if subtle changes of moving the hands to the side and extending a little twisted in different directions, if that immediately changes the path of nerve pain. That's how immediate and responsive sciatica can be to something like a cobra position. So whether it's prolonged holds or reps, short-term value, it's very responsive. It can do a lot. Long-term value, not much. It's the same thing as decompression. So what's missing with both of these is that you are passively manipulating joints. With the press up, you are passively moving your spine into extension. You're not using the strength of your spinal tissue to move you there. You're using your arms, and you get a tricep burn by doing them so much. And so when you form this addiction of doing hundreds of press-ups a day because it gave you relief in the past, it's the same thing if you just cracked your knuckles every day over and over and over and just manipulated joints without actual strength. If you crack your knuckles, there's a couple ways to do them. Use your other hand, passive, crack. Do that 100 times a day, injured. It hurts. You'd also crack your knuckles or try to get to the joints by squeezing so hard with the grip. What's the difference with that? You're using actual muscular activation. So you're doing a gripper. You build strength and tolerance through the actual way you got to that closed position. So decompression, you're not active with any muscle tissue, so you're over-relying on connective tissue. Cobra press-ups, you're not active with any muscular tissue, so you're over-relying on connective tissue, which is why it can then become straining, even especially on the facet joints. Myself included, with many other people, form actual facet joint issues later on because they spent years spamming cobras, and maybe even arthritic issues in those joints on the backside of the spine. So long-term value, very diminishing rewards. It doesn't proliferate and change any of the tissue for the better in the way you need it. So it's a Band-Aid. Scalability, does it lead to something else? No, it's a dead end. You do that and that's it. You don't load it, you don't make it harder, that's it. Potency, how potent is it? It's pretty potent, kind of relevant. You can affect nerve pain. You're not changing a whole lot, though, of your spinal position, so it's kind of potent. Safety, pretty safe. Very hard to hurt yourself with that one, just by the given nature of most of our injuries are headed in the posterior direction. So pushing into extension, the most you're probably going to do is irritate something. You're not likely to flare up bad or catch a really intense new injury. And then simplicity, it's very simple. So overall score is a D, just like the decompression. They both have short-term use case. You can tell a lot about your symptoms if either of those do something for you. If the cobras help you, you can use it to try to guide yourself to know where your herniation is currently at, but that's about it. It's a relief tool. So, all right, next one. This is this might be a hot one. We got the McGill Big 3. So it's a bundle of exercises that's mainly about lumbopelvic stabilization and as well as regaining bracing and intra-abdominal pressure. So we got the curl up, we got side plank or sideline clamshell, depending the variation, and then we have bird dog. So let's take a look. Many people are familiar with this. So you're putting your hand behind your back to help keep a neutral spine position. He's using the other hands to try to tuck and hold and push in to feel. And then forceful breath, trying to build pressure in that neutral position. That's the curl up. Hands behind the back. The chin tucks, which is increasing the stretch all along the fascial tissue and the spine and some of the nerves within the spine. And then really focusing on the breath. Neutral position, building the pressure with the core, tucking the chin to increase the stretch subtly. More spine stuff going on than you'd think. Okay, the sideline plank. Lateral stability, connecting the hips and the low back. Obliques working, QLs working, outer glutes. Those need to work in cohesion and unison and fire properly to keep you stable. So getting the hips, the pelvis, and the spine on the same page and able to protect together and resist movement, and then have the hips move separate of the trunk and not have your spine give way. That's very important. So this is what this stuff focuses on. Bird dog is just an extension of that. Opposite arm, opposite leg is basically putting a little bit of extension strength into your spine and a little bit of counter rotation forces. So that way some of those smaller paraspinal muscles have to wake up and help keep the spine right where it should be. So this whole umbrella, we're ranking the whole umbrella of core stabilization drills. I just called it a drill, which kind of explains a bit of it. But let's get into it. This whole umbrella: lumbo-pelvic stabilization, McGill Big Three, reteaching bracing, and diaphragmatic pressure. So 1, ease of entry. How beginner friendly is it for someone in pain? It's a very good starting point. If you are fresh out of the injury within 2 weeks and you've been walking around and out of that acute injury stage, then this is where they start you almost all the time. And for good reason. It's as gentle of a step as you can really handle, starting with the breath. And a deep breath is like a 360 hug on the spine with pressure. That's a very good, gentle tolerance to build first before you get movement. So for all of those, it's important. Ease of entry, it's really good in the beginning. So short-term value. Second category, short-term value, it's very valuable in the short term. It's going to help you get out of the hypersensitive state. It's going to help with micro movement being tolerable now. So instead of being a complete robot after the flare-up or nerve issues, you can probably sit in the chair and kind of move a little bit and start to walk like a normal person. Long-term value, it's not enough. Not enough. It's better than spamming the Band-Aids and stretches every day like we talked about. These are actual corrective exercises, not just drills. You can build up some fatigue. You can build some small strength there, but nowhere near what's going to be needed to get back to lifting and sports and real demands of unpredictable life. So the long-term value is some. It's not enough. And we have the scalability. It's not very scalable. None of the exercises really progress to further and further levels. There's no way to make it super easy and then make it super hard. Bird dog, you could add little weights, but that's about it. Potency. How relevant is it to the problem area? How potent and how strong of an impact is it? Does it have the potential to heal or the potential to harm? Is the dosage the devil? Or is it impossible to overdo it? The way I view potency is like, if it's not risky to overdo it, then it's probably not even hitting the area you need that direct enough. So I think this stuff is pretty potent. I think you could overdo it. You could do the curl-ups a little bit too much. You could get a minor little flare-up. It's hitting the area, but not intense enough. It's some extension forces when you do the bird dog, but not enough. When you're doing the sideline plank, it's some force along the spine laterally in the QLs, but not enough. So it's somewhat potent. Safety. How safe is it? It's very safe. Very hard to hurt yourself if you're actually intentional and making sure your form is there after a few weeks of doing it. Simplicity, how hard is it to get the form right? How easy is it to do correctly? It's pretty easy. Now, anyone can mess up, easy stuff. But there's only a few things to think about. So it's mid-simple. It's pretty easy to get right. So the overall score, B minus. I'm going to throw a minus in there. I can't give it C because it really does have a role. The way people get addicted to that, what helped in the beginning, and don't view the next steps as just as important, that's where they get lost. So that in isolation to fix your back as a complete route, it would be a C. The value it has early on to really get someone healthy enough to handle more valuable training to the spine, that's where it's up there. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a B- for McGill Big 3. Let's get to the next. Okay, this is one that I was doing a whole lot before I got injured, and I did it a whole lot after I injured my back with disc herniations. And there's a lot of variations to do it. You can do it really heavy. You can do a body weight. So we have glute bridges. The next exercise, glute bridges. Ease of entry. How easy is it for a beginner to start? It's extremely easy. Let's take a look. Start on the ground, lift your heels, lift your butt up, push through the heels, trying to get a straight line from the shoulders to the knees. Everything in line. Ribs down, glutes contracted. That's it. Go single leg to make it a little tougher. I'll explain all those things. So the glute bridge. Ease of entry, it's very easy to begin. Even in pain, it's very sensitive, friendly. 2, short-term value to fixing the back. Not much. Not even much short-term value, I don't believe. Maybe some. Long-term value. Say you take it for years and you train glute bridges. Is it going to protect your spine? I really don't think so. It is testing your back strength. I don't think it's building your back strength. I think you can hurt your back on glute bridges. I think you can do hip thrusts really heavy and you could hurt your back. I'm counting that as glute bridges. But is there any amount of heavy hip thrusts that are going to build your low back to be strong and protected? No. Because half of the women in my low back ability program are former fit chicks who were hip thrusting 3 plates and spent years doing it. And they actually had a huge imbalance of the glute strength to low back. So, yeah, I don't even think there's long-term value to fix your back. Good exercise. Back pain, I don't think it's really doing much. Scalability. Does the exercise go from really easy to hard? Yep, you could take a body weight, super easy on the ground. You do 400 pounds and use it as a very heavy builder. Potency. How relevant and potent is it to the back pain? Not potent much at all. It's testing the spine. If you have back pain, you could feel it, but it's not building it. So it's not very potent. Safety. How safe is it for back issues? At easy levels, it's pretty safe. Loaded up to harder levels, it can test back tolerance. So it's not the safest if you have back pain and you're going to take it heavy. If you're healthy, I'm sure it's fine. Okay, simplicity. How simple is it? It's very simple. It's hard to mess up the form. The only thing you can get wrong is the pelvic tilt, and that can assist in injuring the back. If you lower and you let your hips go into anterior pelvic tilt, that's a big mechanism of why people do get back injuries and hip thrusts. So the overall rating of glute bridges, I feel like I gave it a really bad rap. Early on, it kind of helps with similar aspects of what McGill Big 3 does. I'd say a C. A C. Helpful early on, just for the fact of it's safe enough to do, and it feels good to train the glutes roughly, but I don't think it's building you back at all. You could skip it and you'll still be fine. So, bridging. Okay. Next one, y'all ready? Cat-cow. Cat-cow exercise. Let's take a look. So pushing into extreme ranges, a flexion. I wouldn't even call it extreme. actively pushing into flexion ranges and then actively pushing into extension, actually hyperextension. So pushing yourself through the mobility of the spine. Back and forth, cat, cow. Right? So I had to go on to Pinterest for that one. Ease of entry. How easy is it to get started? How gentle is it? You can, most people, even if they're pretty sensitive, could do some level of it. They may find that it's really painful to get into the extension or flexion, depending their intolerance and their injury. They may not have much trust and mobility there, but most people can get in that position on the hands and knees and feet and be able to move their spine somewhat. What is the short-term value? Passive mobilization. It's not aggressive. You're moving joints, which is better than not. So you may feel a little warmed up and a little freed up just from getting tissue moving and having the fascia glide a little bit and not being completely stuck. So maybe some short-term value with that. You're opening up. You could say that. It could help you regain the ability and fluidity of your spine moving. So I would say but in the short term, I don't think it's going to make a night and day difference if you have real injury and pain. It might though. Long-term value, I actually think long-term it can probably add up and be a good practice if you kept it. I don't think it would be a dangerous thing to do over the long term, as long as you work within a range that doesn't cause you issues. Scalability. Is it a route? Does it lead to anywhere? I don't really think so. I know some people have done loaded cat-cows where they put like a belt behind their back and flex like that. I'm not a super fan of trying to train the spine, train parts of the spine like that without really using it naturally with the glutes and low back all up and down, all the muscles together. Just getting into hyperextended and flex positions with a belt pulling, I just never felt comfortable even trying it. So maybe I don't have enough experience, but it's not super scalable. The potency, how direct to the problem is it? It's not really it's not building that tissue that you need to build. So that's what the potency part is about, is how relevant to your problem is it actually getting at? I don't think it's any amount of cat-cow is going to help build the multifidus and the rotatorus and even the larger spinal erector groups. You're not getting blood flow there intensely. You're not getting a pump. You're not even getting contraction. So you're not rewiring faulty firing patterns. You're not going to help spasming. You're not going to wake up inhibited muscles that aren't even firing. It's not going to change any way it fires and performs within your spine. It's simply using some spine tissue, but just pushing into joint movement is the main goal. It's not testing any muscles to a real meaningful amount. So the potency isn't very high. So safety. You might tweak yourself. If you're coming off disc herniation and recurring disc injuries, or even spondy and retro and certain misalignments of the vertebrae, forcing your spine to really round far into flexion or maybe into the extension, hyperextend with all your might, that might push right into the slippage of a disc you already have, and that might push into sensitive scar tissue around that area. Or maybe it exposes the alignment issue you have in the vertebrae with spondy or retro, and it might flare up some pain. So not super dangerous, like it'll re-injure something massive, most likely, but not safe enough that you could be worry-free and not flare up and have a bad episode. And then simplicity. How simple is it? It's very simple. Can't mess up the form. Round your back as much as you can. extend the spine as much as you can. There's cues that'll make it feel better. There's things that'll really help you get into it better, but it's a simple one. Overall rating of cat-cow. I like spine movement. I think that's a good fact of it, but it's not active and it's not really going to change the game for how your spine performs. So I would give it a C. C to me is like the range of it may help to do it, it may help to not. It's okay if you skip it, but it's also not the worst thing if you tried and you like it and you keep it at the right level. So cat-cow, I'm giving a C. All right, next. Next one. Ooh, we're getting into it now. Let me get some water. Getting into it now. Yeah, as I'm reading out these, I want y'all to guess what the overall score would be. I want to hear your score too when I bring up the exercise. You don't even have to wait for me. So on this next one, I want to hear where you would put it. Because I'm kind of curious how y'all view about this stuff. Wow. I might even add that one. Y'all came up with a good one. I'm going to add it because it's actually so important. We're going to have 15 exercises. We'll do that one right now. Nerve gliding. So, nerve gliding is a very small motion just involving the movement of your chin or your toes, specifically for nerve gliding, the sciatic nerve. And the idea is just gently moving the fascia with the nerves running along it. So that way you keep things from getting too stuck and you help, like the term refers, glide and get movement back in the fascia. Also called nerve flossing is a more intense one, just like flossing, moving through tight spaces within the vertebrae, all the sheath of fascia running down the glute. So let me show a video of it. Nerve flossing. I'm sure I have. I'll just find someone's. Ah, it's mine. So a very gentle place to start with nerve flossing. I would like all the way lie down. The chin moves up, toes move up. Chin goes down, toes go down. That's the whole movement. If you sit up, it's a little tougher. So let's go through the tiers. Let's go through the explanation. Let's go through the categories. 1, ease of entry. It is very easy to start nerve flossing. I'm sorry, let me not call it nerve flossing. Let me say that again. It's very easy to start nerve gliding, even when you're in a sensitive place post-injury, because the movement is so micro, and you get such immediate feedback whether something is off limits or not. It's not really a delayed effect of pain often. You can tell immediately, I shouldn't tuck that deep, or it's okay. My sister fractured her spine less than a month ago. She's in excruciating pain, and she's not able to move much at all. And even with her, I'm on a call with her, and I've been training her on Zoom. And one of the things we are doing is nerve flossing. Very easy nerve gliding. We're laying down on the ground, and she's barely tucking the chin, and she's doing 1 foot at a time and doing that daily just to keep things from getting too stuck in the meantime, almost as a preventative measure. They say movement is medicine. You don't want to be dormant. Well, even on small movements, that's true to help keep things going. So it's a very easy thing to start, even if you're sensitive, beginner friendly. It's a good one for ease of entry. Short-term value. It can help. I think nerve gliding in the short term, people can find relief immediately. I think they can feel things subside with nerve pain. Long-term value. I think there's long-term value too. I think it's a daily practice that you stack. I think it can follow the time frame of tissue remodeling at fascia. It might take months for the tissue to come back and remodel in through that process. But along the way, it's like watering the seed so that way it grows in healthier. Your fascia will keep remodeling in with adhesions and stuck in the same positions and pinned and compressed along different structures of your body. If you never move it, it'll just remodel that way. And so the long-term value of nerve gliding is almost just like little bits of stimulus and signaling to keep it hydrated with hyaluronic acid, to help fibroblasts like releasing there specifically. It's a very small movement that doesn't register for us because it's not muscle building. It's not about any of the other training goals we have. This is about supporting the health and almost nutrition to connective tissue and fascia over months. So long-term value, I think it can really help. I think it can add up. Scalability. Is it a drill or does it progress further? So you can't, you could take it to further levels. You can make a really easy version of nerve gliding where you lie all the way down, flat. You may not even feel it at all. And that might be the goal for you. You're so sensitive with nerve pain that you can't even tolerate any bit of stretch while doing this. Then do this. Lie down, chin up, toe up. One leg. Then you can go 2 legs. And then you can go to the next level where you sit up. And now you're sitting up. The whole posterior side of your body is under more stretch, including the nerves. So now when you move the fascia and nerves at the seated position, it's a more intense stretch. Same with this version. You go even further and go to like a toe touch and completely fold forward. So it's scalable in the sense that the more you increase the stretch while you do it, the tighter the floss is along the grooves of things. So pretty scalable. What's y'all's guess on the rating? Potency. How relevant is it to the issue? It is very relevant to some part of the issue. The parts that can get stuck down and irritated and keep you in nerve pain. Now, nerve gliding isn't going to restore health around the vertebrae too much with regards to small muscles and getting circulation. It's not going to give you more protection. It's not going to likely prevent new injury, but it can be a huge, potent stimulus to the connective tissue that affects the nerves being irritated. So it's very relevant to some parts of back pain if you have those issues and just general fluidity of connective tissue, but it's not potent to fixing structural damage and giving real support. So yeah, it's relevant for some parts and potent. Safety. I think it's pretty safe. I think the worst thing that's going to happen if you do it at a level too difficult or you overdo it, you're just going to have a slight increase of your nerve pain. Tucking your chin and toes is not going to re-injure a disc. I don't think that's ever happened. And if it has, they were probably doing some crazy version. So the safety of it, I think is very safe. If you overdo it, I think it can irritate you for sure. And go to an easier level. Make it so easy it doesn't even feel like it matters. Lie all the way down. And I think it's very safe. Simplicity, it's extremely simple. It's hard to mess up the form. Chin and toes, that's it. Keep them moving together, it's happening. Extremely simple. So, overall rating. That's tough. I want to give it an A. And it feels like it's earned. B would make sense too, but it's just so low risk for most people if you're smart about it, and it's so potentially life altering if you're really stuck with nerve pain, that it's just a thing that I wouldn't ever fear doing. And it's the thing you can't really overdo, like the decompression or the cobras. I wouldn't be afraid of doing it every day, like, oh, you're going to overuse connective tissue. It's just movement. It's gliding in such a small way that it's not dangerous, but it's still significant enough to keep things from getting stuck. It, at worst, could be a waste of time. So no danger, potentially high yielding value. huge relief in symptoms, and just support your overall healing. For some people in a big way, that's just up there, you know. So not relevant to everyone though. That may not be the root of it's not going to fix all your problems. So that alone will not do it, but it's a good one. Okay, next one, y'all. This is good. Spicy. Okay. The next exercise, deadlifts. Put the sound effect. Okay. Let's just show a video. You will see comments that don't be a wimp. Just learn how to deadlift right and your back will never have an issue. I had many issues. But let's explain why. Let's explain what I didn't know. Show a deadlift. I think that's 385 I did. So it was after I herniated discs by deadlifting. I rebuilt over years. So it's training the back. You can hurt yourself in it, so it's very relevant, obviously. It's a hip hinge movement involving the low back and glutes. This one has probably one of the worst raps ever around safety for the back, around importance to train with. It's just so controversial. However, there's nuance. There's variations. There are key details of how people deadlift. So we're going to get into all that. But let's just first talk conventional barbell deadlifts for healing back pain. Ease of entry. If you are hurt and you're a beginner and sensitive off of an injury, how easy is it to get started on deadlifts? It's not where you start. Maybe you could do kettlebell light deadlifts, but like we said, we're talking about barbell deadlifts. It's not the best. It's not the easiest to start when you're injured. Short-term value. How immediately could it alleviate or help with the sensations and symptoms of back pain? I've never really trained someone or heard from someone that walked in the gym feeling a really bad flare-up of their back, did some deadlifts, and walked out like, wow, I'm fixed. I've just never heard of it. So the short-term value, maybe you warmed up and you had a good session and it worked. I don't think you're getting a short-term breakthrough. Long-term value, I'm going to say, now this is where the nuance, how you deadlift. When we're talking about deadlifts now, I'm talking about the normal goal. Let's watch the video again. The normal deadlift, and I think this is part of the problem, how we deadlift is why we call deadlifts bad. I don't think deadlifts are inherently bad. I think the fact that the goal is to lift as much as we physically can muster upwards without the atrocious form, good enough form, and then we just drop it. So I think the way we deadlift of this, whatever we can muster to get it up, hold position, and then drop it. You're getting only concentric. You're testing your back to just resist breaking like a board, to resist flexing. It's a test of back strength, in my opinion. The time under tension isn't very high. It's, of course, going to build something. If it's not breaking down and getting injured, you're going to build strength. You're going to build tissue for sure, even with the short amount of time under tension. However, for long-term value, you have to deadlift probably far below your max. You have to prioritize form over everything. And you have to be able to do it for years and not get injured so that way the returns keep coming. Because as soon as you get injured and deadlifts get a little bit off and now you're changing your form and you have a little bit of pain during it and you're relying on the belt and you're deloading and load managing and trying to deadlift and you're in this in-between, it's no longer building you up. Now you're keep irritating a scab and it's not even building you. So the long-term value of traditional deadlifts, pick up the weight, drop it for your back pain, it's not great. Scalability. Yeah, you could beginner it. You could go really light, and you can go the world-class feat of strength. The ultimate test of strength is probably a 1-rep max deadlift. So it's very scalable. It's not a dead-end drill. It's a route of step to step. So yeah. Safety. I don't know. Y'all tell me. Y'all tell me. You know, so how safe is a deadlift when you have back pain? The way you were probably deadlifting in the past, not safe at all. The new way you may learn how to deadlift, where it's just a hip hinge. How safe is hip hinging? It's crucial. It's probably extremely safe if you go through the steps of learning how to brace, learning how to actually load properly on your feet and get your butt back how you should, and keep a posture that's solid. Open up the hamstrings so you get some hinge back and you're not too tight. So it's safe if you're maniacally slow and careful. But let's just be real. Let's not pretend like that's how people are deadlifting. How safe are normal deadlifts for back pain? They're not. And it's just because people are... Gym culture set us up to view deadlifts as the wrong thing. It's really just pick a weight off the ground. Just be intentional. We lose intention and we just think, wait, another plate, count PRs like that. So we're disregarding the body second. We're not even trying to get gains from it. People don't even deadlift for physique goals. You don't really do that. So it's not even about the body, how it feels, mind-muscle connection. Okay, hold the pump. No, none of that. It's not like a pec fly. Oh, I felt it here. I'll go slow and hold for a squeeze. There's none of that. It's more weight on the bar. My nervous system is fucking wired. And pick it up. Strength. So you're not really asking your body along the way, how's it feel? How's it feel? How's the form? How am I going? Oh, slow, hold it. What's the position? Nah, all that shit's out the window. You're damn near praying, can I get it up? Even look at me. I'm thinking I'm being as careful as I can be. I'm really thinking about form. But look at my face. Look at the veins on the neck. Look at the subtle buckling of the spine. This, in my opinion, is a good deadlift. On the spectrum of deadlifts you see, it's not maybe the best, but it's not the worst, right? Around 4 plates. I'm not saying don't deadlift. I'm not saying it's dangerous. I'm not hating on it before the React channels come at me and call me a dweeb. It's always the weak guys who say don't deadlift. I'm just saying if you're in the chronic back pain loop, don't blame it as an exercise being wrong. The way we're doing it like that, not the best. I really overdid that point, I know. Okay, and then potency. Did I talk about potency? It's very potent. It's very potent to the spine. It may not really get to the... it's training the small stuff too, because the small stuff breaks during it. It's not a scalable enough... no, I'm kind of backtracking. It's not controlled enough to be able to really trust rebuilding your back with it. But it's very potent to the area. So it's kind of survivorship bias. I think it's a test. Simplicity, how simple is it to get good deadlift form? I don't think it's that simple. I'm not going to lie. Like, actually care about form and make sure your positioning is right the whole movement. I see some really shitty deadlifts in the gym. So I don't think it's actually that simple to get it down right. I think it takes a lot of practice. So, and maybe it's worth practicing, but the simplicity is not there. Overall score, what do y'all give it before I give mine? Deadlift. What tier is that? D. I'm gonna give the deadlift the overall score of a C, which is the same as a glute bridge. And both of those were kind of the same explanation of like, they test low back strength. You can injure yourself on it. However, they do have roles that can really support back health if you get it right. If you just push weight as the main priority at the exclusion of tension, of how it feels in qualitative gains, like, hey, your mind-muscle connection is getting better, your positioning is getting better. If you throw that shit out the window and you're just only thinking about load, you're going to get hurt. It makes sense. It's a fair trade. So I would give it a C when done well. I don't think it's that alone will protect your spine enough with all the facets of what spines can do and rotate and resist and twist. And I think you need more than just pick something really heavy off the ground. But it's also really, really potent. So I'm going to give it a C. So let's go to the deadlifts. Smarter, more handsome, more successful, golden child, older brother. Why can't you be like your brother? The RDL. So, RDL, similar movement, very different execution to the deadlift. Let's go through the categories. Let's take a look first. Let's take a look at the RDL. Yeah, that's the wrong one. I guess I shouldn't slow it down because that makes it look like more controlled. So the RDL is a hinge just like the deadlift. Usually people start from the top. And me personally, I like to pause and go slow and hold it at the bottom and really own it where it's toughest. So this is the Romanian deadlift. Get that quality up. Take a look again. My proudest feat is that the same weight I used to deadlift and rip it up and drop it and re-injure myself with is the same weight I worked back up to RDLs, now owning it slow. Remember I was saying on deadlifts that the goal is just to pick it up and you drop it? RDL is the opposite. You only pick up what you know you can lower. If you can't slowly lower it, you don't even pick it up. So it's always keeping you from hitting the gas pedal harder than the brakes can handle. If you can't brake at 300 miles per hour, you shouldn't have a car that can go 300 miles an hour. But that's what a deadlift is. Pick it up and drop it. The lowering phase of an RDL is true confidence of, oh shit, my back is strong and protected. So this is about 315. Pause at the bottom. Right here's the most exposed of the spine strength that you don't really get to test with deadlifts because you could break form and not hold that real neutral spine position I got. And people say like, it's a good lift, it moved fast. So RDLs. I have the toes up for further fascia nerve stretching. And elevated heels for a deeper hamstring stretch. You don't have to do that. Okay, let's go through the categories. Ease of entry. I would argue an RDL or a hinge starting from the top, essentially, is an easier thing to start when you're injured and sensitive than a deadlift where you're starting from the bottom and picking something off the ground. I think it's easier to start really tall and just gently slide your hands down your thighs and push your butt back and just do a very short, tiny range. So I think it's very easy to access and start no matter what sensitive place you're starting from. The short-term value, how can it improve the way you feel immediately? It might feel good to get some time under tension on the spinal erectors and the hamstrings. You're going to get some warmth and blood flow to the big muscles in the back, probably. It may not change night and day how you feel quick, but maybe some short-term value. Long-term value, I think a pretty good amount. I think if you always work at the weight that's true to you and you never sacrifice just for the sake of heavier weight on the bar and just lose your positioning and start rushing it and dropping crazy fast. I think you do a slow, controlled lowering tempo, and you maybe pause at the bottom. You'll always own it. That's just confidence stacked on confidence, confidence of your spine, and stronger strength to resist breaking into flexion. That's a very important quality. So, yeah, I think the long-term value is there. I think it's pretty good. With flat back strength, it's not all you need, but it's a good amount. Scalability, it's very scalable. So it would start body weight hinge and RDL. You just simply stand up straight, slide your arms down, push your butt back, feel a stretch in the hamstrings, come back up. All the way to probably the most extreme version I showed, which is toes up, elevated, pause at the bottom, real slow eccentric. 1, 2, 3, pause for a second, back up. That's probably as intense of a variation as you can get with RDLs. Obviously, I'm proud of it. But, so it's pretty scalable. Potency. How relevant is it to your shit back? Your sensitive back, one that has imbalances, it's really weak, your back's tight, all these symptoms and qualities that are poor. The RDL is going to help a good mix of the larger spinal erectors and then some of the paraspinal. Multifidus is definitely working, some QL. You're not getting a ton of the muscles that are in the grooves of the spine, rotatorus, intertransversari, the things that run diagonally and sideways along the spine. That's more lateral movement and twisting, rotation based. So it's hitting a lot of the big muscles and getting a good pump that way and training the tendons to hold strong. And it's basically an isometric hold the whole time because you're not actually moving your spine. So it'll help if you do it well and don't lose position. But is it potent to disc injuries? Is it going to like really transform vertebrae? I don't think so. Because it's testing the back as a complete structure, as a board working together. How strong is your back from the cervical spine to your tailbone? The whole thing from breaking. So if you have a weak point at L3, L4, you had disc injuries there, you maybe had some fragment, some fracture, some kind of misalignment, your body will tense up and contract all the other vertebrae and large muscles to kind of guard against that vulnerability, and you'll see how strong your whole back is versus how strong is that part of your spine. You can kind of hide that forever, and many people do. So it's potent to the big stuff, but it's not to the nitty-gritty and the real spine work you need. That's the limitation. It's somewhat potent. Safety. Usually when people RDL, they have a better mentality and a better focus than deadlifts. It's not I guess we're doing like a devil's advocate, trying to give it some redeeming comparison, but RDL is dangerous. It's, if you start loading for real, you can herniate discs, you can fracture things, you can injure things. Usually you're less likely though because you're focused on a different thing. You're trying to get that hamstring stretch and burn. You're trying to make sure your form's solid and you're doing higher reps. You're not working at a 1 rep max. So I would say the nature of how we RDL is usually safer, but it's some serious stuff. There's danger there for sure. Simplicity, how simple is it? I would argue a little more simple than deadlifts. You're not starting from the ground. There's no starting position. The depth is up to you. It's just really keep that spine position, neutral spine, push your hips back, weight distribution around the midfoot, feel the hamstring stretch, and go as low as you truly have range in the hamstrings. Don't lie. So it's simple in theory, but it's not actually that easy to coach. So it's a mid-simplicity. It's kind of complicated for the form. It takes practice. So the overall score, though, the ranking of the tier for RDLs, What do y'all think? What would y'all give it? Patient, well done RDLs built up to a perfect form. Remember, the tiers are F to S. F, D, C, B, A, S. I'm going to give it a B. It's not an A. It's definitely not an S. I don't think you're going to truly heal your back with RDLs alone. I think you can gain a whole lot of confidence and strength through it that will help with a lot of things, but you're not going to restore vertebrae health to the same degree. You're not going to restore mobility in the spine. Yeah, it's almost in that C, but I got to give it a B because it's still potent. It still will transform your back and how it feels. The muscular endurance. When I built up to that level of RDLs, I definitely felt less of a challenge to hold my posture up, and the muscular endurance to just stand and do the basics felt better when I had a strong ass back and extension. And it was the heaviest thing I was doing extended. So yeah, it's not all you need, but I'm going to give it a B just because I'm biased. I'm going to give it a B for Brendan. So, y'all ready for the next? Shifting gears. Next one. For healing back pain. 6-pack ab work. The whole umbrella of them. Crunches, leg lifts, Russian twists, spinal flexion based ab training, specifically curling, crunching. What are y'all rating it off the bat before we even go through categories? What are y'all just even giving it off the bat? I want to hear. I'll show an example. One example is Gar hammer raise. Tucking the knees up, slightly curling from the low abs, building the front of the abs for back pain. That guy was lean, whoever that was. So, what's the ease of access? How easy is it when you're injured to start doing curling, crunching, ab work? You might be hurt. It might not feel that good. To flex the spine is probably not going to be a good time for you. So it's not the easiest thing to start with. But I guess you could find some variation that doesn't irritate you, maybe. What's the short-term value? There's no amount of ab work that is immediately going to help how your spine feels. I'm sorry, it's just not. We're not talking about core. I'm talking about 6-pack rectus abdominis abs. No. It's so far from the problem area, and it's not actually providing pressure and bracing and stability the same way other tissue is, transverse abdominis, the obliques. I'm talking just the 6-pack curling. It will help somewhat in the long term. So short term, not much at all. Long-term health, I think getting your low ab wall, and it'll be some hip flexors. So some variations of that will hit hip flexors, which will help you with other things that will help with the back. But even the long-term value of hitting your abs hard to try to fix your back pain, I don't think it's going to add up to really fix that for you. No. Not a bad thing to do. I'm just saying this video is only to fix back pain. I don't think 6-pack ab training in the front is going to do it. So hanging leg raise isn't a bad exercise. Training the abs is not a bad exercise. Training the hip flexors, I think, is a key nuance that where there is more value. It's part of the equation, but this alone, no, I don't think it's it. not really the same route, right? Like we don't have PRs on a lot of it. Maybe reverse squat, but that's more of a hip flexor exercise. Gar hammer is more of a hip flexor exercise. But we're talking crunches and sit-ups. The scalability of those, maybe you add a plate, but that's about it. You can't go from your grandma to like some intense level and new variations. So I don't think it's that scalable. Potency. How potent and relevant to your spine injuries is it? I don't think much at all, honestly. If there's one thing most people who have even frivolously trained in their life, anything, who have exercised, gone through phys ed, has had any interest of any physical goal, even when as a teenager, they probably looked up an ab workout. They've done some sit-ups. I bet every human has tried to push up and has done some sit-ups. So if there is one area of the body that's probably not undertrained compared to other areas of the body, it's going to be the six-pack abs. So when you get your spine injury, you can rest assured it's probably not that you were so undertrained in crunches and sit-ups that you got a spine injury. I don't think it's potent enough. It's so far from the problem. I actually want to show this picture of the top-down view of the core. Damn, what would that picture be called? I probably have it in here. Let me show y'all. Because it's really eye-opening to see visually what the core actually is and where everything lies. Let me find no. It's probably on a reel I did. I'll probably find it that way. Let me do that. That'll work. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So I still teach people to train it just because as a general concept, don't skip anything around your core. But hyper focusing on this, let's take a look. Let's really zoom in on this picture. This is a top-down view. I know it's a hard thing to see fully. But this is a top-down view. This is where, ay Dios míos. So you can see here, the spinal erectors are this big group, ESP. That's spinal erectors. So when we're thinking about potency, we're thinking about either is it proximal to the problem, meaning nearby. If you have a disc injury or a spine fracture or something around the nerves here, then the things physically closest, the muscles attached to that, are going to have usually the most direct influence immediately. There's some relevant imbalances, like your hips. Your psoas is attached, actually, so that is a flexor. But tight hamstrings aren't connected to the spine, but they pull on the pelvis, which pull on the spine, so it's indirectly. But the abs, the six-pack abs specifically, look how far and look how small they are comparatively to how big and close spinal erectors, the QLs, the psoas. These are really thick, strong muscle groups that are directly attached to the bones that break down, directly attached to all the grooves of the vertebrae where disc herniations protrude out of and where nerves get impinged. So the abs front compared to the transverse abdominis, the 360 pressure wall, and then the spinal tissue back here, I would say the six-pack abs are the least important. Are they still important? Yeah. I'm sure there could be some imbalance where you've never hit anything for your six-pack ever in any kind of way. I've just never seen it. But So that's the potency. What's the safety of training sit-ups, crunches? You could injure yourself. You could crunch up and re-injure a flexion-based intolerance. Flare up, you could have a true micro re-injury, maybe a real re-injury if you really force it. Just that flexion position becomes very sensitive and sketchy for people when they're fresh out of the injury. So not the safest thing to do. When you're healthy, probably shouldn't be an issue to round your spine like that. Simplicity, pretty simple. Yeah, there's no like great form, bad form on a crunch or a gar hammer. Just get those knees up, curl the torso, flex the spine a little bit. It's an easy form. So our overall rating of six-pack ab work. I still might give it a C. Maybe a D. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C. I'm gonna give it a C. If done safe to the right level where you're currently at, it may not hurt your progress. It may even slightly help some things, certain variations of it, certain variations of the six-pack training. But I think you could do without it, and most people would be fine. But some people may find some value from it. But you got to be really disciplined and really have discernment of what you're doing with that, and not just crunching away your back pain, because you will do a sit-up into back pain. So, all right. Let's try, the camera's blocking it. I'll show it again for y'all. My bad. Oh, yeah, I'm silly. Look at that. So, one more time, real quick. You can see the six-pack abs are up here. They're very small and very far from the problem. You got transverse abdominis. That's the most inner layer here on the outside. You got internal oblique and then external oblique. They go across opposite direction to keep stability. So you got this is what transverse abdominis is like, the real stabilizing, deep pressure building wall of the core. That's probably the most important when people think of the core. They're really talking about transverse abdominis. Then you got obliques, which we can see more easily. It's outer. Then we got six-pack abs, which we really see. Just because we see them, they're not that big and they're not that close to the spine. ESP is spinal erector. This is the QL. This is the psoas. These directly attach to the bones of the spine. They literally are attached to the spine, to the vertebrae. So they directly influence it. And a pump here is going to flush stuff out through here as well, through the spine. So getting this healthier, firing better, contracting, not spasming, getting the resting tone healthier, getting circulation through there and a pump, all that supports the bones so much more than something like crunches up here. Your six-pack, that's not doing that much. It's really not touching it. It's not even an imbalance like that. If you were tight here, you would really feel it in the back as much. So I think it's a good measure to have everything 360 of the core trained somewhat. So do it if you'd like later on, but I don't think it's the core of why. I don't think it's the core of why you have back pain. A little punny. All right, we're making good progress. We got 5 more and we're out of here. All right. I'm excited to show y'all. Okay, this is a big one. People always ask about it. Can you guess? I want to hear if you guys can guess. It's the one I talk about least. It is asked about the most. What exercise? I'm asked about the most for back pain. I talk about the least. No guesses. We already did bridges. Pistol squat. For back pain, y'all, you think pistol squat? Plank's a good guess. Walking is a good guess. Gotta think more critically. What's a back exercise? We're talking about exercises people do to try to fix back. Someone said it. Someone said it. Okay. The next exercise to fix back pain, we have the reverse hyper. This one has a huge reverence and respect to its effectiveness to help with back pain, and for good reason. It's helped a lot of people, and you can really feel the difference when you train it. However, speaking as a representative of the lost, hopeless chronic back sufferer group, I can tell you when you're really, really injured in a loop of sensitivity and breakdown and avoidance, there's some things about reverse hyper that aren't so inviting. And so there's some nuance to it. So I want to talk about this. This is a very important one. So let's look at a reverse hyper first. I'm actually going to give some variations. So the normal reverse hyper is like the one you're seeing on top of the screen. Right? It's this one up top.
Swinging mechanism.
This guy's showing how you replace it with a ball. Same exercise though, right? You usually need a machine, like this guy's showing you, on top. You need a machine to try to get your legs swung up like that. And the problem is these machines can really cost. They're lunky and huge. But even let's say you have one, right? Or you train these variations that people teach. This is better. This is probably a really good one right here, comparatively. But traditionally we think of the machine when we think of it. So let's talk about that. The issue with it, I'm so passionate, I'm about to drop the whole model of this video and just start ranting. Let's go through the categories. The ease of entry. How easy is it for someone who's injured and sensitive and fragile to start the reverse hyper in the way you normally see it, with legs and with weight and momentum swinging up? It's not that inviting. It's a lot of swinging into subtle but flexion position in the spine. And so when you're starting out and you're really hurt and you're probably fresh off conservative physical therapy, the normal variation in way to perform reverse hypers doesn't feel inviting, and it's not really all that easy to start with. So let's think about the short-term value. You probably get a real good pump if you can get a good healthy set in and not be hurt. You'll get that low back pump that I talk about. You'll feel the tie-in of the glutes to the low back immediately. What's really cool about the reverse hyper, it's the opposite of the back extension in the sense, with the back extension machine, let's pretend this is the machine that's your body, your hips don't move and your spine does. So your legs don't move, but your spine does. So it's a lot of spine and some glutes and hamstring. Still a good amount, but mainly spine and glutes and hamstring. Now, the reverse hyper is the opposite. The legs move and the glutes move, but the spine doesn't move that much through the whole way except at the lower vertebrae. And so you get more glute, upper glute as it ties into the SI joint. So the pump is a little different. That one is like a real SI builder. It really hits the glutes and spine but you're not getting spine range of motion in the same way, but you are usually rounding, as we can see in the video. As he rounds down off the machine, you're rounding. It's not like a back extension, but you're definitely rounding L3, L4, all the way to S1 under load. It's not an intense stretch. So the short-term value, if you can get a good set in, you'll get a pump. It will help how you feel immediately, especially if you've had lower disc and vertebrae issues down L3 and below. It's a good pump to get. Let's also show there's a single leg variation. And I kind of teach this a little bit more often. You can do it on the machine. I found this video. I didn't think it was so thirst trappy. I'm sorry. I saw this angle. I like this for the sake that the single leg, you can kind of own it at the top. I would try to pause at the top. I've shown a single leg reverse hyper on a bench. And I think this one can be really good. It's a shorter range, go higher reps, but you really try to pause and hold. Even that small range, it's a short range exercise, just like reverse step-ups, but for the back. And so it's sparing on the joints on the SI. You get a high pump, high circulation, huge pump. So everything gets tons of work. It's not going under much stretch, and it's not momentum. So that's a deposit of getting the pump to that area and squeezing strong with the joints together at the top. So I like that one a lot. But the two leg is good too. Two leg is good too. However, we're at the next category, the scalability. The scalability is kind of the issue with the reverse hyper. There's no levels of variation typically in the way you would use it with the machine. I'm seeing new stuff of how people teach body weight and you can hold it at the top. I think that's what you would have to do to make this one work. If you're truly coming back from low back injuries, you're going to have to be creative and find out how to get your legs up. Maybe single leg like I teach it on the bench. I think that's probably the best regression. You get some glute, you get a lot of glute and some low back, because that machine of just swinging the legs with your weight and all the momentum, that's taxing as hell on your back. And that's something you should build up to handling. The only scale is just going heavier. You don't really change the range. You don't really change the form. So it's not super scalable. Safety. Not the craziest danger, but I think you could really hurt yourself for sure. And people have. You load up a lot of weight, use momentum, and it's swinging you back into spinal flexion. You shouldn't be touching that exercise if you're not already good at iso holds on the back extension and you're already really good with moving your spine without weight, because forcing spinal flexion with weight is just a bad recipe if you haven't built up that evidence yet. So the safety, you're playing with fire, but it's not as dangerous, I'd say, as like a deadlift. The shearing forces aren't the same. So yeah, the position it throws you in and the momentum is the sketchy stuff, but it's not a super dangerous force curve in how it works out. Simplicity, it's very simple. It's very simple. You got to try to get your heels up in line with your hips, if not higher, and lower down. Can't really have bad form. I would say we could have higher standards of the tempo and trying to pause at certain points, but it's really hard with weight, so that's back to the scalability. So it's very simple though. So if we go through all those categories and try to give it an overall rating, reverse hyper. Now, I didn't talk about how much it really has helped people rebuild in the long term. The long-term potential of it, I think you really do get a good mix of large strength and protection through spinal erectors and glutes and that tie-in right there, which is really important for most lifting of squats and deadlifts. Really get protected at the SI joint, and you get some spinal flexion and some range in the spine. that will help the smaller paraspinal tissue. So the long term there, I think it's a good builder. It really is. The tough part is getting healthy enough to where you can really put it in your rotation. I know the story of how Louis Simmons found it and he started doing it and rehabbed after injuries. I know that a lot of people have a different case of chronic injury after decades, and the sensitivity they have after all those years, they really struggle to get into that machine at all. So I think that's the steps you got to work up to getting to do it, and then finding micro regressions. So all that said, the overall rating, I'm giving it a B. I'm giving it a B. I want to give it an A, but for back pain, for me, so important is the accessibility part. How easy is it to start and how scalable? Because when you really try to go out in the world and help people with back pain, you realize there's 1,000 different diagnoses you didn't know existed. Just throwing random words out the dictionary. Crazy sensitivities and intolerances. The way symptoms flare up can seem so random and arbitrary. You get such delicate cases where you need to have 50 ways to regress even the most simple exercise. And so when a back exercise is great for a lot of people, but there really is no way to change it or make it even more gentle, or there's no micro deposit for it, it's hard to do that. It loses a lot of its evergreen universal application for me. I think it's really good for those that can do it, and there's some people that actually get hurt and just like maybe it just requires reinventing, like the back extension, like I tried to do with all the levels I've popularized with iso holds and single leg. Maybe there's a way to do that for that. But as of right now, I'm giving it a B. Respect to it, but it's a B. 4 more. All right. Next one, seated good morning. Another popular one that's really rose up in the past few years. Let's look. Seated good morning. Here I am. It's my body weight on my neck. Flat. Hinging at the hips, maintaining a flat back. It's also called the seated deadlift, some people have called it. Hard to imagine why with this video, but if you look at the next one, you can see why I call it seated deadlift. So when you pick it up, you can pick weight up off the ground. You pick weight off the ground here, boom. It's like a deadlift, but you're seated, right? So that's the seated good morning family of exercises. Let's start with ease of entry. How easy is it? I would argue it's actually the most accessible way to start training your spine, because not everyone can even stand, but just about everyone can sit. Maybe some of y'all are horizontal in a hospital bed. I doubt it. Most of us, literally, no matter how bad things are, can sit in some form. And I know I'm showing a crazy variation right now on screen. 160-something pounds on my neck, folding over. It looks scary. It's crazy on the spine. That's not the full exercise route. That's a high level of it. But what I have even the most fragile people do is sit at the edge of a chair and just simply move their shoulders in front of their hips even an inch. Boom, you're loading spinal tissue. As soon as you put the line of the shoulders down to the hips, forward, the tissue along here, tightened up, building tension. You're getting blood flow. The deeper you go, the more you're loading it. The heavier you go, the more you're loading it. And so you can start with just an iso hold right there. I think that is the most accessible. To tell someone that you could sit as you are right now watching this video, lean forward, support yourself for 30 seconds, hold it, That's a micro deposit. So it's really good on that. 2, what's the short-term value? I think pretty good too. I've had so many experiences in my life where I'm like at a barber, I'm out at the bank getting a new line of credit or something, I'm at a car dealership, and I'm speaking to someone that we're sitting for 30 minutes and they're complaining about their back. I explain as quick as I can, hey, the odds of you telling me that you have back pain, I have to say something. I'm the exact person you should say that to. Here, listen, try this. And I'll have them sit and just lean forward and do a 1 minute or 2 minute iso hold with me, just a set. And we just keep chatting, doing whatever we're doing, and just hold that. And they go as deep as they can without rounding the back. And just that deposit of 2 minutes building up that circulation and that rewiring, it's not an immediate change to the neurons. They didn't just fix faulty patterns and all that stuff. But they did get a squeeze for 2 minutes straight of a muscle, nonstop. So it feels engaged and it feels woken up and it's not spasmed, and the 2 minutes of blood flow and a little pump and the warmth. And they do that and they sit up and immediately they're like, whoa, I've never felt that. And I'm like, you never trained your spine. So this is a really easy way. So the short-term value, I think you can give someone an immediate aha little feeling. It may not get their pain all the way, but yeah, I think there's some relief potential. Long-term value, I think there's a lot too. I think it's up there with RDL and any of the progressive loading of the spine gradually. I think you take it to higher levels and it's great. Iso holds and reps, I think both are really important. I still do both. Scalability, very scalable. The easiest to start, and it can go to the most extreme. I think it's also some of the most scalable. And so this is after working on it for years. Right, this is high level. Barbell, weighted, reps, flat bench. You could put the bench at an incline and only go down, halfway down. Your hip mobility is a real test there. The groin and adductors opening up. But this is the highest level. Now the easiest level, like I described the iso holds, look here. This is at a workshop. Everybody leaning forward together. Not the buffer. Boom. And you'll see this workshop. Some people were really hurt at this workshop. Some people were feeling okay. Some people were feeling pretty good. And people lean forward at different amounts. This is a pretty doable level for most people. You're getting warmth, and we just held for time. Leaning forward, you just hold. Very easy starting level. And so it can progress there. Then you do reps. Then you can do weight. You can do a weighted iso hold. So many ways to scale it. Really good in that department. Potency. How potent is it to your problem? It's still a flat back test. So it's getting into the hips more. It's getting to the glutes and training that a lot. Not as much hamstrings at all. You are training spinal tissue, a lot of the large spinal erectors, some of the QLs, and obviously testing on the spinal tissue, but again, to resist flexion. So flat back strength, just like RDL. It's very similar to RDL, except when you're seated, it's more glutes and less hamstrings, and you can really do iso holds better than RDL. It's hard to, I guess you could do iso holds, but. So how potent is it? It's pretty potent to the spine. It's going to build you up. Like the RDL, it's going to build your spine. You're going to feel better in the chair. You're going to feel better sitting, standing. You're going to build endurance, which is a huge buzzword for spine health. It's not strength, it's spinal endurance. Well, building the seated good morning is going to do that for you for sure. However, still no spine range. Still no flexion, extension, lateral flexion, twisting. So that's the caveat. Safety. You gotta be smart. That's the thing I'll say. It can be extremely dangerous. As you can imagine here, people always freak out. Like, isn't this super dangerous? Yes, it's super dangerous. This is nowhere near a max where I would fail on weight. I would fail on form. If you go too heavy, you'll be able to get it up. It's just gonna look ugly, and you don't want to do that. You could re-injure yourself. But it looks like you might decapitate yourself. Imagine I fail here. I must die, right? You'd be surprised how strong you actually are with all your spine tissue and glute. If I had to cheat my way up from here, you could herniate something though. So high risk injury if you go crazy like a deadlift. That's the thing. Intention. However, how risky is the iso holds here? Not all that risky. So it's safe if you know where you should be and you work within that. Simple. How simple is it? It's not the craziest form. I think it's easier than RDL. The only thing is it's very honest in exposing about hip mobility. Some of you guys may not even get down halfway down. So what you might think is a form problem, like you're rounding your back to get there and you're like working on your form, it's actually because you're so tight in your hips and you're trying to go deeper than you should. Most people actually can only go here to start. They can get like there. But that's really all they should do in the beginning. So it's pretty simple. Okay. So overall score. What do y'all think? CD, good morning. What do y'all think? It's a tier of F, failure, D, C, B, A, S. Supreme is S, A, B. Some good grades y'all giving it. I'm actually gonna give it a B. I'm going to give it a B just because, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to give it a B. Nah, I'm going to give it an A. Okay, so I gave RDL a B. I'm going to give it an A just because you have the fact of how accessible it is as an entrance to low back training. It's actually the trial we do for the LBA website on lowbackability.com. We have the world's biggest program and community. If someone wants to just try it, we have a button on there in the top right. And the little lesson exercise is an iso hold of the seated good morning. It's because I know it's safe for anyone to try at the right level. And I explain the mechanism as we're doing it, and you can just feel what it's like to get your own back pump. I could be on a podcast episode. Someone's like, well, how does that work? Try it. Let's feel it right now. So you can do it anywhere. It's so easy to get a little deposit. If you got weight, you could do weighted iso holds. And then you can get reps in. And then you can go further with crazy weight. So I think the fact that it's so accessible, can be body weight, can add weight, and you can still feel some. I would put it up there. Yeah, I'm going to give it an A minus. A minus. But it's not rounding the spine yet. So that's the thing. You would be still leaving a lot to chance if you only train seated good morning to fix your back, in my opinion. Okay, 3 more. 90-degree back extension. I get this question all the time. Hey, Brendan, Hey, Brendan, my gym doesn't have the 45-degree back extension. It has the 90. Is that okay? And I would say, probably not. So let's go through our categories. Ease of entry. If you're injured, how easy is it to start with this? Granted, my video is weighted. You would imagine not weighted. Not the easiest to get into that machine. If you're hobbling on, you're kind of injured. Imagine your grandma getting on this machine. It's not a sight you would really imagine. There's handles. Maybe you could do holds and you could like find an easy way, but how much are you really holding with your back? So that's probably my biggest gripe with it. The levels are hard, harder, and impossible on this exercise. The first level of just do holds is damn near impossible. Then just reps, really hard. Weighted reps, impossible. Completely impossible. Unfathomable. So the entry is so just inaccessible. If you're really fragile and you're starting from square one with your back, it's not the place to start, in my opinion. Even body weight, even iso holds, it's just way too much weight. The lever is so long. Your shoulders are so in front of your hips. And I guess that's the fundamental thing to understand about loading your spine. Every inch the shoulders are in front of the hips is more weight on the spinal erectors, right? Well, the 45 degree, your shoulders are a bit in front of your hips. They're a lot in front of your hips. The 90 degree, your shoulders are as far away from your hips as they could be. They're as far in front. So it's the longest lever possible. It's just so hard. It's literally so hard, even with such little weight. So it's not easy to access. What's the short-term effect? If you can find a way to do a right level with an iso hold on it, or some way, you can get a pump, you can feel some alleviation, you can feel some warmth and activation that might feel okay. Long-term effect, if you built yourself to handling training this and you were healthy at a certain point and you could train this long-term over a few years, it's good spinal flexion. You get more decompression at the bottom, it seems. Because at the bottom of the rep, you're completely inverted, like 90 degrees to the floor. And I might even have my pad a little high. You're getting less range in your spine, though, as a 45 degree. So the long term is, yeah, it's building you up. You're getting spine work. You're getting range. But it's tougher muscularly, and I think it's easier on the joints, which has pros and cons. It might change you a little less, but it might be more forgiving on some parts of your spine. The scalability. Hard, harder, impossible. It's not gentle, easy, challenging, hard. No, it's hard, harder, impossible. And there's real limits to what you can do. You can't do single leg. You can't find these variations. Maybe you can. I'm just not strong enough. And if low back ability, guy on the mission to build the world's strongest low back, isn't confident you can do single leg, then most people probably aren't going to find themselves doing it. Using so much momentum because I really can't own the reps yet. This was a couple years ago, but. So, yeah. Potency, how potent is it to your spine problem? It's pretty up there. It's pretty up there because you're training large muscles. When you get down and start lowering and rounding the back, you're now training smaller muscles, paraspinal muscles. You don't get super deep into flexion to where like those really take over and you really test the joints and the ligaments and all the connective tissue the same way. So you can still get away without fully stimulating the deep, deep, deep stuff, but you're getting really decompressed at the bottom and then you're recompressing with strength, which is a very important quality to be able to do. Relax your spine at the bottom and re-engage it with the little muscles coming up. That's very important for rebuilding the spine over time. So it's very, very potent for sure to the problem area. You could hurt yourself. The safety of it, you could tweak yourself, you could flare up. Yeah, you could re-injure. It's not the safest. It's not the craziest either, but then simplicity, how simple is it? It's pretty simple form. You just need to make sure your control and tempo is there and you're not flopping up with momentum. It's more of a how you execute the rep versus your technique and form and positioning. So overall, what do y'all think on the rating with this? What would you give it? 90-degree back extension. Yeah, I'm going to give this one a B. The fact that it has that decompression at the bottom and recompression, it has spinal range. You, in theory, could do the scale of iso holds and reps. You're testing vertebrae, paraspinal strength of the small muscles. That's a lot of potent, important factors that test the spine enough to really change it. It's risky enough it could hurt you, which also means it's potent enough to potentially heal you on a deep level over time. It's just lacking on that accessibility factor and the ease for a beginner and your grandma who has all these worries and injuries to get in that machine. It's not the place I would start people, and that's why I have an issue teaching it for people. That's why I never stuck with it myself. So, yeah, B. Give it a B. It's a B. Okay, two more. We have the 45-degree back extension. So this one is the foundation of the program I've teach people through. This is the one that I've spent the most time on trying to give a step-by-step route on, so I'm very biased. Let's get into it. 45-degree back extension. This is me working half my body weight for 10. So you can go reps. You can do holds. You can even do holds with your feet out, right? So this is the exercises. This machine, the 45-degree angle, usually have handles. Let's go through our criteria. Ease of entry. This one is probably, aside from nerve gliding, this one is the easiest to enter for most people. There's always a level that's somewhat doable. Very few times is someone completely unable to do the easiest level, which would be an assisted, feet out of the machine, very high pad, put your hands on there, hold yourself up, because essentially it's almost make-believe how much load you're doing to the spine. You're holding your triceps, holding yourself up with your arms, and you're kind of standing, so you have about 20, 30 pounds of just loaded tension with no motion, no movement, squeezing spinal tissue. And remember, shoulders in front of hips is what initiates how long the lever is and how much spinal loading happens. You're not at 90 where it's hard. Standing is a lot more passive. This is somewhat at an angle, but if you do really high pad, step out of it, assist, a 20-second hold, 20 seconds nonstop tension, most people can start with that. Short-term effect, you can get a real desensitization and a real warm-up for your day, for your workout. Iso holds, or even just one set of a pump if you were further along, they can give you an immediate desensitization and a good activation feeling, and things can feel protected. That pump can really make you feel put together. The long-term effect is extreme. It is the most fruitful, in my opinion, because there's so many levels to work at, and there's so much importance to the qualities that you gain. Let's say you take iso holds, this route. I start people just holding and squeezing and firing. When you do that long enough, for months and years, we already know, it's very well known now and studied, that iso holds are really good for getting the joints healthier and the connective tissue, specifically tendons. And you have lots of little muscles in the spine. Therefore, you have lots of little tendons connecting those muscles to the bone. So for the joint stability, by vertebrae stability, if you have spondyloretro or lax ligaments, that things are shifting too easy, you're told you have a lack of stability. Well, one way to build really good stability within joints is to do iso holds to higher and higher levels and really test your ability to resist movement. And it'll even push on the joints and test the ligaments. So you test these iso holds for years and get to where I do now. I'll do loaded iso holds with a barbell on my neck like this. And I'll just hold myself from resisting boom. And it's different than an RDL because it's constant, nonstop, versus the movement and momentum. That's for iso holds. Now let's say you get to the reps. When you do reps, start even just body weight. You're getting very decompressed, you're getting inverted, and you're getting a lot more flexion. If I extend my arms, I'm touching my toes. So you get back to toe touch, you get the posterior range, the fascia has to open up. The vertebrae have to be okay flexing and separating. Two things that you really get messed up with is compression and flexion. So this is helping you. I'm decompressed at the bottom. Coming back up, I use strength to recompress. So the spine opens up and separates at the bottom, and then it comes together and realigns into neutral position. There has to be strength to do that. Because there's so much muscle in the posterior chain from glutes, hamstrings, spine, on day one, you can do this. You physically would get the strength to be able to lift up, but you're going to get hurt. So the long-term effect is you can completely transform even deep parts, deep layers of spinal tissue because it just gets that close, which leads us to the next point, scalability. You can go so easy with the iso hold, with a high pad, foot out, assisted iso hold, 20 seconds, give that a month or two. The first step could just be desensitizing to wake things up. It could be just like literally to feel any back sensation and walk away without a flare-up or punishment. And that could be the first step. So it starts as a neurological exposure tool and then turns into a subtle training element. And then you start getting the blood flow and the pump. And then you can get into the further levels. Think about all the scale I'm describing here. You got body weight reps. Then you get to dumbbell loaded and you can go weighted. You can do single leg for more preference of trying to train more of the rotation forces involving rotatorus, intertransversari, QL. You get more nitty-gritty tissue. And then you go maniac over years and you can really load up your spine. Is it able to completely get yanked open at the bottom, passive hanging? I guess it's too fast for me to catch. Can it handle completely hanging down and then coming back together, and joints are having to move? You have to show range of motion. You got to show control within the vertebrae. And your tolerance has to be up there, so it tests things from the bones, disc, nerve. Leads us to the next point, potency. How relevant is this to what you have issues with? It's very relevant. This is why you could herniate discs on this. If you jump to levels you shouldn't do, it can wreck you. It's why you can irritate and flare up all sorts of syndromes and diagnoses you've had in the past. Spinal stenosis can be difficult starting with this. All these things can be roadblocks and frustrations early on because of how gentle you're going to have to start. You don't start at your strength level. You have to start at your tissue tolerance level. And so I have whole videos about this progression. Obviously, I'm biased. But it's so potent, it will work at the tendons. It will work at the ligaments. It will help support the bones better. It will work to the smallest muscle tissues in there, especially once you get to the range. It'll help with decompression and spacing. It'll help build tolerance to compress. And so, yeah, very potent. High potential to harm, high potential to heal, which makes it valuable. The devil's the dosage. Safety. It can be very safe if you take it serious with the progressions and not outpace yourself. You can completely throw yourself out the game for a year. You could really hurt yourself. You could get a real injury. So it's a safe one if you have the brains to follow through and not rush. There's easy levels on this, and you'll work with little bits of feedback from your body. You need to feel a tiny bit of pain sometimes when you're pushing to new levels to know, okay, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. I need a few more months at the last level. So, and then last one, simplicity. How easy is it to do? It's pretty easy. Hold yourself up. Now there's tricks and trip. That wasn't it. There's tricks and tips. There's a difference of just hanging like this. I'm kind of sagging in this part. And then really holding yourself up long and getting your body out. So the back extension iso holds and reps can kind of be cheated. You can kind of hide away from really using parts of your spine, or you might use all glute. So there's cues to remember of engagement. Keep your body nice and long, but it's pretty simple. Hold the static posture, keep a good neutral spine position, and then slowly work to range and get down there and get back up. So it's not that crazy. Okay, time to rate it. What do y'all think? I assume y'all already knew I'm giving it the big S. I'm giving it the big S. It just checks every box. It's easy to get into, even the most fragile person. I've taken people through, grandmothers. Let me show. My own grandmother. Let's just show that one. Show Abuela Pimpi. Let me show my Rosalinda, sweet Mexican grandmother on the back extension machine. She was putting in some work. Take a look at that. Got her on there doing holds. She's had some back pain. She's been putting in the deposits, just working holds, taking her time. She's like, oh, wow, that's really contracting. I'm like, yeah, let's use some resistance. Just 30 seconds. So she was doing yoga and having some pain, then she started doing this and it was helping her out, you know. And so, yeah, it's a real one. Yeah, it's just a good one. Got lots of people on here. So, yeah, it's easy to get into. You can get a short-term immediate relief effect, long-term serious structural changes, if not just better functioning and better symptom reduction, and you'll have a healthier feeling spine and things won't be so guarded and afraid and flared up and inflamed. But I do believe that we'll see studies now open up to the popularization of this, that people will see and test what MRIs look like year after year after year with a big pool of people over 5 years. If someone's diligent enough to stick with training it, I'll be the first. I'll let them scan mine. It's scalable. It's very relevant. It's very potent. It has the dangers. It's safe if you're smart. And it's very simple in my opinion. So for that, there's one thing to do. I leave the S tier for the thing of like, if someone asks what's the one exercise, that's the only answer I'll give that I feel confident. Like, if you don't care about time frames, if you truly are okay with a painful first year, rocky second year, things got better, got worse. If you really were giving it as much time as it needed, don't do any other exercise, just do back extension. I would have faith telling someone that. For most things, 99% success rate. But you would have to be so patient if you did nothing else. Because a lot of times there's always other things. There's always nerve issues, fascia issues, connective tissue problems, movement problems. There's hip imbalances. There's upper spine, upper back shit. There's other things in the hamstring, the calf. So If you did no other training, you're choosing a really hard way to try to turn around a chronic issue. But some people would progress fast. Some people do. Some people literally only add back extension and boom, they're good. And some people have a year of doing back extension and they finally break through to feeling somewhat better. It all depends on your case, but the only people that are like, that it didn't work for me, it's like they couldn't find that dosage that was healthy for them. They did the 30 seconds assisted and it still didn't feel good. It's like you literally hold less weight with your spine, hold more with the handles. If you can walk without flaring up, you can do the back extension without flaring up, but you'd have to be so patient to find the right amount of work. Twice a week, 3 times a week, 20-second hold, assisted. But anyways. Okay, the very last one is a bonus. We got someone asked a good question here for the live first. What would you say to all the grandmas out there hesitant to start back extensions? Grab your grandson, have him translate this video across generations, and show the easiest level, and realize you're a champion just to be able to get up and do any amount, and it's like money depositing. I would tell the grandmas, it's like the economy trying to buy a house back in the 60s. It's booming. It's fruitful. Interest rates, healthy. It's good deposits, good money. Put 20 seconds in the back extension. Eventually that 20 will turn into 40 and you can keep going. You're not dealing with the current economy. All right? Things are different now. We're talking back extension. That's good money. So last one, which is a bonus. I threw this one in. I wasn't going to talk about it, but I threw it in. Jefferson curl. It is my profile picture. It is triggering. It is a iconic exercise for back pain because it is probably the epitome of fear once you've had disc injuries and significant issues at your vertebrae. So you're told not to round your back. So that's why my profile picture is kind of like a fuck you to the misinformation that goes for so long. And I do want to say the Jefferson curl is not what you start to do when you're trying to fix your back. Because the old conventional wisdom against loaded spinal flexion has a point. I know that. However, it's missing a lot of nuance, and it leads people to just simple binary black or white ideas around their spine health and how to move around life, and they end up actually counterproductive and destroying themselves worse by trying to avoid rounding their back. And so let's show the Jefferson curl. Let's show the extreme version. I weigh 180 pounds, just for reference. I weigh 180 pounds. I used to hurt myself leaning over body weight, no weight, to pick up a pen. I worked up very slowly through other exercises, then progressing this one, to being able to put my body weight in my elbows and bending forward. That's 180 pounds on the bar. So I went from hurting myself body weight, picking up a pen, to now holding my body weight and less issue than picking up a pen. Toes up for the maximum posterior stretch, fascia, nerves, all that opening up. Probably like 5 reps. Now we also have Jefferson curls just leaning forward. Body weight. This used to injure me. Was never that flexible either. It's kind of fucking crazy. Palm to the ground, toes up. So let's go through our last exercise. Let's go through our categories. The ease of entry. If I lie and act like the elephant walk is the same exercise, then we could say it has a very easy entry. This is different, but similar position. Keep the hands down, extend the legs, and you could gradually build exposure to deeper flexion. But even this is not where you want to start. You need to start in neutral spine position, building isometric strength with the iso holds and the back extension, in my opinion. So it's not, Jefferson curl is not the easiest, most gentle ease to entry. It's not the safest when you're injured. It's really not at all. It is the most risky completely. Getting deep into flexion. Let's talk about why. So there's been a lot of research that went out, a lot led by the leading researcher and biggest force in spine health and information, Stu McGill. We already talked about the big three earlier and spoke about the advantages and the limitations of those. And some of the research he did was on repeated loaded spinal flexion, which were done on pig spines, cadaver spines. So they're dead spines, not in a living structure. And they literally went and mechanically just bent them, loaded a bunch of times. Like, I don't know, a machine or their hands or what they did, but they went and flexed it hundreds of times, if not thousands. And then they looked at the disc. So they went boom, 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 boom. A dead spine. Not with all the living protective structures. No, a dead spine. And then they look at the disc wall and they go, oh, yeah, it's causing delamination on the annular fibrosis, which is just nerd talk for it's wearing at the disc wall. Interesting finding. So I'm not that surprised. Now, you match that with the real life findings of when you find somebody with chronic or even just an immediate disc herniation. What is the test that you will do for disc pain and nerve issues? You'll sit in a chair, you'll pull the chair down under and pull yourself into it and then tuck down. So you will go into flexion around your back and pull yourself in. You load flexion. You flex your spine round and then you pull into the chair to try to reproduce symptoms to know, do you have disc symptoms currently? So the research shows loaded flexion is dangerous. It wears down dead pig spines. And when you're freshly injured, you get the confirmation bias of that artifact, of that finding, because try the test. It hurts, right? Not a good thing to do, right? Don't do it. Now, the nuance lost is the body is adaptable. The living human body is adaptable. Very different than testing the dead pig spine. Another example, Stu McGill led research, I'm 95% sure this was him, on the back extension. And they found that the back extension produced too much shear force. Shearing is shifting away and against. And so they had people start at just reps. So my argument is that that just lacks skill. The execution of that research is jumping to too high of a level to truly test the validity of that tool and exercise over months to years on a slow progression. We just jump straight people to something that most people really aren't ready to handle. And then we label it as it's just too much. Label for life. That exercise, too much shear force, it's done. It's cooked. Though for decades, it's just now got this official stamp that bleeds through sports medicine, bleeds through the personal training certifications, bleeds through the textbooks and curriculum that exercise is bad, and as well matching the confirmation of spinal flexion loaded is also bad. And so now we're stuck in this place where there's all this stigma and confusion, when really it was no one ever went slow enough. No one introduced a person who was sensitive into a very easy level and ramped it up a little bit over weeks to months and made it scalable. And so all these things are just looking at reality from this sort of like overly simplified cause and effect. We did this, the spine broke down, therefore this equals that. It's like, okay, question yourself. Why would the dead pig spine show delamination of the disc wall? I think if you took a pig's kneecap and bent the knee a bunch of times, it would break down the cartilage too. So that's kind of weird. And maybe back extension is not starting off with a bunch of reps. So yeah, there's just need for revisiting on that stuff. And it's either the standing professionals are going to be open-minded or they're going to be forced to be, because independent outliers like myself who were failed by the system are going to become charlatans and revere on to find new advancements and heal a whole bunch of people just solo off the path and go rogue. So yeah, the Jefferson curl is the epitome of that whole conversation. It is the worst thing to do according to anyone really brought up through academia and bleeds for it. And if they're going by the book, they're going to have a strong affinity against Jefferson curl. So, and there's good reason. It's dangerous. It's not the place you start. It's not the thing you do to fix your back. It's the thing you can go to build extra layers of protection to be like, I have so much insurance. Look how I built up the tissue to handle so much. And so, yeah, the ease of entry is not there. Short-term value, maybe you feel good opening up body weight and just like really flexing, but short-term, maybe that's actually relief and it can irritate you more by doing it. Long-term value, I think stacked on top of something more structured and tension controlled and constant, like the back extension with holds and reps and doing that progression first, I think Jefferson curl after long term can really hit stuff that you don't get on back extension as much. And so one of the arguments against deep spinal flexion also is that once you get really deep into the position, that your spinal erector muscle groups go into silence, meaning they literally drop off in their activation. So then all the load goes onto the deeper spine. They say that's a bad thing. I would say if you built up to that and don't go too heavy, that's adaptive. That's how you actually call upon deeper tissue like the tendons, like the ligaments, like the smaller paraspinal muscles, more multifidi activation, more of all the stuff we talk about deep that you have problems at. Well, how do you start to signal that, hey, it's your turn to wake up? The big guys called off. They can't do it. It's your turn. The little guys that break down, yeah, you need to wake up. You go so deep that the big muscles go into silence. So it's the very thing that's risky is why it's potent. So if we get to the potency category, it's extremely potent. So much that it can paralyze you. If you were to go stupid, crazy, stupid, injured, sensitive, get a ton of weight, that is playing with the hottest fire possible. But if you slowly built up and really learn to trust the process of multi-year progression, then the Jefferson curl is going to call on things that no other exercise is going to call on to that degree. Therefore, higher stimulus that you can handle, higher rate of adaptation, higher protection built. That's my argument, you know? And so we'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell. The scalability, start with elephant walk, then you can go body weight Jefferson curl, then you can go into the loaded. So it's pretty scalable. The starting point is still a test. You have to handle flexion though, so it's definitely a serious entry point. Potency, like I already said, extreme. The safety, very dangerous. So you got to build yourself able to handle danger. Let me show you the most dangerous clip I have of myself. Look at this. Take a glance over yonder, huh? Take a gander over here. So we did a video, if you ever want to watch this, how to make your low back unbreakable, where I went through hella back exercises in one day. We did, I did back extension, I did a set of holds, I did a set of reps, and then I tested barbell test. How many reps can I do with a barbell? Fried my back. I'm sorry, it was an empty barbell. This was half my body weight or something. Yeah, and I went to like 15. I don't know what I did. And then we went to elephant walk, And the reason I'm showing this is the Jefferson curl. And then we max test. And these splits I got back, not even back. I was unable to touch my toes like pre-injury. And by doing back extension and literally Jefferson curl and split squat, I got the splits. It's not my deepest split, but then I tested RDL max test. I think I did like, with my body weight, this is 185. I think I did like 25 or something. No, I think I'm lying. I think I did like 18, 20. And then, this is what I just wanted to show. I'm flexing all this back work I did because I just want you to know. I couldn't do any one of those things in isolation when I was hurt for years. So it's just a testament to like the capacity you can build up to handling is crazy in your spine.
Or potential to harm. So the riskiest exercises, high risk, high reward, they're the
He's cooking.
ones that get the most to the tissue that could snap. If it doesn't, has a chance of readapting.
Look at
and
this.
have them.
Oh, bend over and pick this up.
All right. Attention, you're getting compared to the Jefferson that I show. Super, super heavy. I'm relying on my spine. There's no hiding it.
That's my body weight.
If my spine was gonna snap like this, there's no way to avoid it. My hamstrings are dead. I'm not lifting with my hamstrings right now.
Wow.
It is my literal vertebrae and multifidus and the smaller muscles. Do you need to go that far? Hell no.
So probably risked my entire career as a low back leader doing that for the argument's sake of the video and just to prove my point. I guess I did that, but it's very dangerous if you're not ready for it. And when you build up to that and you know you can handle it, it's a different level of confidence and freedom. Because everything below that, getting in a car, picking up, wrestling someone, picking up a big object, sprinting, it's like, I mean, that's all cakewalk compared to fold my spine, leave it all on the softest tissue, all on the disc, all on the bones, all on the vertebrae, and just yank at the bottom. And I literally didn't feel anything the next day, just a little deep sore, and then it was fine. It's like, I already was doing Jefferson curls for years before I did that. Light. Like, I was doing Jefferson curls for maybe 3 years before that. But yeah, it's extremely dangerous, and that's why you don't see me talk about it that much. I have it as my profile picture. I'm overdue to change it because it just represents reclaiming power from the thing that was your weakest point in life and dedicating to make that the most impressive strength. Not for other people in vanity, but just to show to yourself that nothing else ever again can make me feel so powerless. So then if I go through any other injury, any other huge setback, it's like I literally went from one of the worst at something to one of the best at something. And once you do that, then you know you have all the range in this life to become whoever and get yourself out of any ditch, whether it takes 10 years or not. But that's kind of why I think I wanted to push the Jefferson curl so hard. Not even for the training aspect, but just to cure the fear and prove myself like, hey, you're really out of it. Because for a long time I had PTSD if it would come back. So yeah, the overall tier of Jefferson curl for healing back pain, I'm going to throw it at a B. Because the risk is there so high. The necessity may not even really be there for most people. It takes a high level of skill. I would only be comfortable coaching someone that in person, not online. not through a program to the masses. Maybe body weight. I just genuinely don't trust people's patience the way it should be. Just so y'all can see, it's potent, but by the time you can do Jefferson curls, your back is no longer an issue. Just so you know, I stopped having back pain and then I did Jefferson curls. So it was like I already didn't have a bad back. I just wanted to have an exceptional back. So imagine you fix the problem and now you dedicate 3-4 years to keep going. Most people don't do that. I could show y'all the videos of back extension I have of Jefferson curl. I have many videos of progression where I was just doing tiny dumbbells looking afraid. I hope I have it. Damn. This is a video a while earlier, maybe 2 years earlier than that last one. 100 pounds. This was a huge deal to me. I did 185 or whatever. But 100 pounds almost touching my toes to my elbows. I was like, what the hell? This was after like a year of training Jefferson curl. So already a year feeling a lot more decent. But I got some old videos of me with like a little kettlebell, a 10-pound weight, like so slow and bending over, and I probably was still rushing it. But yeah, Jefferson curl, I'm gonna give it a B. If you really follow the process and trust yourself, and like you trust the time, and you really are smart and in tune and have discretion with your body, maybe you could give it an A. But I just don't think you need it. And if would I ever say that's the one exercise, if you just do that, you'll be safe? No. It's missing levels. You got to build that flat back strength and that deep rounding. So it's like a specialty quality. I'll say that. It's a specialty quality to add. It's the turbo to your car. It's not the engine. You can't have turbo without engine, but you can have engine without turbo, you know? So, all right, y'all. That is my expert opinion as an expert of back pain, expert of knowing pain. I was in pain so much I became an expert of what it's like to live in pain. I just know what it's like to bump your head and to try things on the internet and hear all these different approaches of exercises. And you're not sure why some of them kind of work and some of them kind of don't. I think having this process of knowing, okay, is it a route? Does it take me from an easy level to a hard level with many steps? Is it even relevant to the problem? Is it at least close to the spine, close to the deep layers, or is it affecting a relevant imbalance maybe, or is it really arbitrary? Is it easy to get started? Can I do it when I'm sensitive? Is it okay for someone who's fresh out of injury or not? Is that even smart for me to try? What is the demands of form? Is it crazy intense for you to even get the right technique right? Could I just be doing it wrong? All these things are to understand what the time and place is for these exercises. And it's not just about rating them as better or worse, but there's a time and place, and sometimes there's barely a time and place for some of these exercises. And for some of them, there's always a time and place for some exercises. So I hope this kind of helps declutter from all the noise if you're sitting, navigating, trying to figure out your process back to health. If I can help, we do have the world's most comprehensive, most complete community of back pain members working through the same program together. We have a full laid out blueprint at lowbackability.com. It's pay what you want community. You could sign up for $2, $3. You can sign up for $100. I let people choose the price that they want, cancel whenever. I completely despise the high ticket sales and closing sales calls and people doing funnels and weird sales marketing to people in the rock bottom of pain, because I was the person stuck in pain for years, getting on those calls and then getting lousy exercises, D tier, maybe a C tier exercise on those programs, and didn't even fix my back. So that's just my personal experience. But even if you don't go through the LBA program, I hope this video and the other content kind of helps you sort out to make your own plan for long-term progression, for real solutions of building and not just chasing relief and all the fucking weird stuff that you'll find in search results. So play the long game. That was the outro of the YouTube. I'm still here with y'all. Let me turn off the recording so y'all can still see me though. Okay. How y'all doing in here, huh? McGill big three to begin with or extensions. What do you think about inversion tables? You need to watch this video back. I hit all that. Yeah, I hit all that. McGill big three is not a bad thing to start with. But I also think you start with iso holds. Damn, it's late. It's late. It's past midnight. Oh, shit. Who made it all the way through? Who was here from like the first 20 minutes? Don't lie to me either. Any LBA members in here? Got a couple. A couple. Okay, I got a few. Been around since 22K subs. Wow. Yeah, I know. You never know when I'll stream. It's because I never know when I'll stream. I'm getting my life in order, but I will. First part was just making this consistent to actually keep doing it, and so now I'm gonna structure it in the day. I know it'll end up being a very consistent time, and I'll make sure it's lined up, predictable for people to know when to tune in. So I hear you, LBA member. All right, I appreciate y'all really sticking through this and diving deep into it. This is not Andrew Huberman's studio. No, this is my apartment that I threw this bamboo panel on the wall and ruined my security deposit. That was me. Our core exercise is important. Yeah, gotta watch the video, man. But yeah, they're good. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, Jesse. I hear you. Yeah, all y'all. Okay, so I'll say this. We're gonna do this because I wanna always. I really like this group that made it in here today. And I would love to spontaneously do these every now and then. So I'm going to open it up I'm going to put a timer for 5 minutes. We're going to give away one back extension right now on live. It's for members only. I'm just going to there's too many members that need it. Go to lowbackability.com, go to merch and equipment, enter your giveaway. I'm going to go through the emails. I'm going to pick one. Maybe I'll find the process of how we do it. There's not too many people in here. So even if it's 10 entries or whatever it is, if you'd like to enter, there's not a lot of people in here. You got a good chance. Only 70. I'm going to give away one machine. Just one. I promised myself this time. I said 1 or 2, and I gave away 7 or something last time. But just off the fly, I just decided it. This is a good group, and we got members. So if anyone needs one, So lowbackability.com. I'll show it. Once you're logged in, you go drop down, merch and equipment, get your back extension, enter giveaway. Got to be a member to get to this page, otherwise it's not going to work. Also, while I'm here, I want to show y'all, it's for everybody. We got the shirts now selling. Our OG shirt is this. It's a cool, calm, cotton, nice t-shirt. We got the little bandage heart logo by the pocket area, and then we got play the long game on the back. This is our standard shirt. This one's nice. The other one is super nice. Like, it's like an oversized, thicker cotton, good quality, super durable, kind of oversized fit. The long game tour, we got Heal the World or Die Trying. Life is a long game, play it with heart. And the cities, this is from the tour. People liked this so much that we started selling online. We only got 100 total. We're only selling 100 right now. Maybe we'll restock. But they're both offer-based. So both these shirts, you can choose the offer. If you lowball, it'll say 1,000. You just type whatever you want. If you lowball, like, it costs us money to manufacture the shirts and ship them and stuff. So, like, we're not going to try to lose money if possible. We'll probably do some for cheap. But if you ever want, this shirt is definitely worth more than this shirt. This shirt, if I'm buying it, at least 30. I'll do 30 or something. If I'm not being charitable, I think I used to sell them at 35 before I did offer base. These we were selling on tour for 45, and that was with no shipping, no nothing. So, not saying what you got to pay. It's offer based. Worst thing is it stays in the queue. We don't accept it. You know, people on Instagram offer, and we got tons of offers already. I haven't even looked at it, but if you ever want to buy some merch and rock it, play long game one is not limited. This one's pretty limited. Just plugging it in. No pressure though. But all right, another 2 minutes. 2 minutes to get your entry in though. I know I was yapping your ear off. Enter giveaway. We're gonna give one away of the machines. You know what we'll do? We'll do this. I'll give away one machine and one of the back buddies. So the back buddy works in doorways. And it works really well for reps and holds. Single leg doesn't work though. We'll do that. I'll buy this one personally for y'all. Give away one machine and then one strap. If you have a preference, you can write in the email. If you don't really care, then don't worry about it. Yeah, back buddy's got to be securely anchored, mounted well. All right. I'm checking now. If no one answered, we ain't doing it. It's time. Get them in. You got 10 seconds. Check my email. Let's see. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 8 right now, I'm seeing. Oh, more came in just now. Okay. We got Samson, Kenny, Adam, Hamza, Maurice, Eric, Matthew, Carter, Jesse. Okay. How are we going to do this? Let's think. Let's be intelligent now. Let's be intelligent now. Let's do this. Let's do this. Just find a creative thing. We're gonna narrow down now. Let's find a fun one. Let's do trivia. Let's do a little trivia. Does anybody know what my old Instagram handle was before low back ability? Does anyone know? I don't think anyone knows. At this point, I think people hitting Google, so I'm gonna close that. Nah, Eric, I'm not convinced. I think you hit Google. It was a little too long. It was a little too long to answer that one. I was just warming up questions. Back God of Destiny. Wow. Like that. Yeah, I'm still trying to that mobility flow abbreviation video. I'm trying to get the editor to do that. If anyone's an editor, hit me up. I'm building a big team. I need more editors. So okay, let's do this. Hit me up, Cartier. Find a medium. Get me on Discord. Shoot me a Discord DM. I'll accept it. Okay. I want to narrow it down. That's what I'm trying to do is narrow it down to 3. So I'm gonna ask if maybe there's some cool site that does this. Maybe there's some cool I could do this. Okay, let's just do this. I'll do it with y'all here. Okay. Let's do it. So we got all these, okay. We got Jesse. We got Carter. I'm adding us into this little spin wheel. Try to be creative with something, but it's too late. I don't know if you ever can tell, but I hit a steep drop off of energy. You ever have those nights where, like, for no reason you don't sleep like even a bit? Like last night, I was up, calm, relaxed, tired. 10:30 in bed. 11:30, I'm staring at the ceiling like, oh, that's weird. Kind of still awake, huh? Another hour, it's like 1 a.m. I'm like, am I really still up? oh my God. I just don't panic anymore. I don't get mad about it. I went so many years having sleep issues and injury that I'm kind of like, I know it all passes, and I just live in gratitude. I don't care. Then it's like 3 a.m. and I'm still literally wide awake. 3:30, almost 4. I'm like, this is weird. And then I finally crash. Probably got about 3.5, 4 hours sleep. Today I was trudging along. And so the fatigue wall I just hit just now is cumulative. A little sleep debt that I will pay off right now. Okay, y'all. I got us all added. I'll let you see what I'm doing now. Unless you can already see my screen. No, you can't. Okay. Do you have ADHD? I don't really think so, no. I don't think so. I'm actually very reserved and I can focus very well. I just get very animated when I explain things to people, I think. And I have a weird communication style sometimes of just like bouncing around, and I'm working on that. But I definitely don't have a attention problem. I'm not hyper in that sense, I think. My brain's definitely not normal, though. That I know. There's something there. All right, y'all. Share the screen for y'all. The counting sheep thing's funny, right? Because once you start getting to the 700s, you're like, oh, I might keep counting the whole night. All right. Y'all see this? Y'all see this? Janky ass website I'm on. Probably getting firewall attacks as we speak. Yeah, here's the names. Here's the names. Numbers don't stop. Honestly, there is like a slow Wim Hof variation they have on the app that actually helped me knock out one time. I should try that. I do try to do like box breathing or real slow. Sometimes you're just not sleeping, no matter what the fuck you try. I almost feel like I'm supposed to be up. I'm like, all right, let me sit. Maybe I'm supposed to get a download, an idea. And I actually did. I like remembered I got this text from this app developer, and I forgot to respond, and I hit him up and schedule a call, and I'm like, oh shoot, maybe that's why I was up. Probably not, but here we are, everybody. I'm rambling, but here we are. I'm delaying hitting it. I just feel like there's got to be something more exciting than just hitting the button. But all right, let's do this. So this one, the first one is going to be for the back buddy strap, not the machine. Are you ready? Let's do it. Control enter. It's Curtis. I know it is. He was the first one to submit. You see it? He won the strap, everybody. He won the strap. He won the strap, everybody. He won the strap. Not the full machine, but the strap. But hey, that's still good. Still good. Yep. So Jesse, I got your email. So let me email you. Let me not mess around this time. I'm going to email Eddie, who's in charge of this, your info right now. Oh my God, why are y'all always so far away? Is that New Zealand? Where are you from, Jesse? Where are you from, Jesse? Oh, sorry, everyone's email. Is that IP address? No, it's not IP address, is it? Why would I have IP? Oh my god. New Zealand. He's in New Zealand. Alright, I'm going to crop this live as soon as it's posted. So that way it ends early. So everyone's IP address isn't online. Sorry. I don't think there's a reason to worry, but just not good practice. Alright. Alright, Jesse, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you it. We're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna get you it. We'll see how much that shipping is. Alright, now this next spin. This next spin is for the actual machine. Alright, it's for the actual machine. Let me make sure I got your email, Jesse. Jesse, I'm gonna email you on my personal email right now. So that way I got you. Normally Eddie handles it, but when it's international, actually, just one. Put it through there. Back, buddy. Strap. He's going to email you asking address and everything. Even though you submitted it, just want to confirm. I get that email probably in the morning. All right. Y'all ready? We got one more spin. One more chance at this thing, man. One spin at life. No reruns. Here we are. Here we are. Show the wheel. Show the wheel. Yeah. If Jesse wins both, he wins both, guys. I'm not even going to remove his name. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Here we go. Oh my God, no, undo. I need those names, please. Thank you. Here we go. New. I'm gonna throw myself in there. And if I win, everybody owes me $10. We'll figure it out. By the people, for the people. I'm people too, guys. All right, let's do this. Now I'm excited. All right. Oh, Snad, are you a member? Just want to check first. Oh, Snad, are you yet a member? Oh, Samson paid me $10. We might have to give him a second entry. No, I'm not going to skew it. Yeah, no bribes. Exactly. I almost added him another one. I'm like, okay, Snad, you can add yours right now. If you win and you don't enter one, I'm not giving it to you, but I'll add you one. All right, stakes are up now. This is for the machine, y'all. This is for the real machine. Good luck to all the people. May the fortune forever be in your favor, whatever Katniss Everdeen said. Okay. Kurt. Are you there, Kurt? Is he here? Is he here? Is Curtis with us in the room right now? Ah, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. He's censoring himself. Look at that. Yeah. We love that. The big one. He got the big one. The big one. Kurt, what country do you live in, bro? Don't lie to me. Let's be real for a second. What country you live in? I eagerly await this response now. Damn. Hey man, it's all good. Just get me buy me a meal when I go over there. That's funny. Oh, that's kind. I might take you up on that. Cause to be like totally transparent, cause it's just a crazy world. The machines cost like, I don't know, 360, 300, 400. The shipping to New Zealand is 400. It's like buying 2 machines. So I'm kind of like, if I just send you the $300, do you promise to get a back extension on your own? Or should we just send it? I don't really know. But we need some international shipping for that Nord bench. But anyways, we'll figure it out. And end of the day, you're getting one. And I gave it to you. Okay. Kurt, oh, not again. See, I gotta stop this. I appreciate it, Kurt. That's super nice, man. That's super kind. Got your email. Make sure to tell Eddie, yeah, both these motherfuckers aren't even in the States. Both international. I love that. I love how it all works out. Y'all dope, man. I'm not actually complaining about the shipping. It's just like, it's just such a fucking silly thing. Ship to them directly, yeah. Dagestan. Really? Are you in Dagestan? Fire, guys. Kurt, where do I DM you? That is true. Justin had a good point. The reason why half of y'all aren't from the U.S. is because it's 4 a.m. in the U.S. There's no chance I could pick an American. Oh, that's the last time. That's the last time I do this giveaway at 1 a.m. Duh. Ah, that's funny. Hey, I'm just grateful that I could go on live any time of day and there'll be, I don't know how many we got. What, 60, 70? We got good people. I don't know how many. That's funny. Yeah, I'm in Cali too. That's funny. I set myself up for that. I'm in LA right now, so it's late for me too. It's late for me too. Today was a planned out live. That's gonna be a YouTube video, real chopped up, but kind of extra thorough. Went for it so long, but where's everybody at? We got Little Rock, Cali, 4 a.m. in South Carolina. Cartier, you didn't go to our. Oh no, we were gonna have a Myrtle Beach stop, and we canceled that one on the tour. We didn't get enough tickets sold yet back then. You working, bro, or just full time YouTube? You talking about me? Me full time YouTube? Or you asking somebody else? We got Berlin, New Zealand, UK, from the Bay. What part of the Bay? What part of the Bay you from? We got 10 p.m. San Diego, beautiful. Australia, Netherlands. Damn, we got the Dutch here. Different. Okay, cool. San Francisco SAC. We went to Vallejo last year. Met up with a guy named La Russell, if you know who La Russell is. He helped out a lot. Became a cool connection. He's from Vallejo. Australia. Yeah, we did have one in North Carolina. In Charlotte. We're going to definitely do that again. Yes. No, you. Yeah, me. No, I'm not a YouTuber. I got... Oh, you know La Russell. Yeah. So he's the person I took inspo from for Pay What You Want. He ran his whole business like that. I met up with them. We shot a... Let me show you. We gotta stop screen recording. I love when the worlds collide. We shot a... Oh, where is it? Damn.
Imagine being able to build.
This was a good podcast episode of me talking about building LBA. It was a cool convo. We got to meet and have a whole convo and podcast. I was in Vallejo. Played basketball with him. It was a cool full circle just because completely different lane and in music, but applying a lot of principles of generosity. Like there's people doing good business in lots of different ways, and he was doing a lot of community stuff, and that's the person I took inspo from. So that jacket was awesome, and Nature Walk, that's his. He sold that. That's funny. But yeah, someone said, do you do YouTube full time or do you work? So I guess you could say I'm unemployed. I'm not a YouTuber. I have the world's biggest low back program. I'm pretty sure the most members and biggest community. So this is my life work. I got a whole business and employees, and yeah, we got a kind of big operation going on. So I'm very blessed. This started off, I was just sharing, posting about it on my story, about how this all started, like with just me and my friends. It started with me solo in a long journey for many years struggling and many big Hail Mary shots and slowly building social media. But when my friends came along, we were just like all slept in a fucking, I'm pointing it to the laptop like y'all are here. Y'all can't see this. I'm tripping. There were just like a bunch of people sleeping in a studio apartment with a laptop trying to build a WordPress site, trying to bring the first version of this, and then actually build a product that would help with back pain and the program. And it's just crazy how slowly built out. So the streaming and this side of YouTube is more new. I'm going to be streaming a lot and like a lot of other styles and training focused, bringing people to gym sessions, inviting members who make good progress. We're going to have podcast episodes here, flying in members and tell their story and then train with them, and maybe even like some of these giveaways we were talking about. This probably would have been a good one. Actually not, because no one's from the US here, but a giveaway being spend a day with us and come here and we'll fly you out here and train with us, and I'll personally train you, and we'll film it and we'll chat and get to eat for, hang out for a day. That could have been the spin the wheel winner today. Instead, y'all won machines. It sounds very quiet because I'm very quiet right now. Sorry. We're going to wrap it up soon, but yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, I'd love to meet some of y'all. If you're on the journey, been through. Want to do a quick question. What are the ages here? Can you just type the number of your age? I'm just curious. What's the age? Everybody in here. Yeah. I haven't seen a single 40-year-old yet. Yeah. There we go. We got Eric, 44. Yeah, so it's like I'm putting the average right there at about 32, 33. Maybe a little bit more. And many of y'all have been dealing with this for multiple years too, maybe even a decade plus. So we've been through more similar things than you'd expect. And I like hearing the stories from people in real life, and DMs are cool. But it's just cool to meet people that I just know they appreciate it. They see the value in this stuff because they know what it's like sitting in the same offices and being just kind of let down again, and to be kind of left with no real options. And you're younger, you're not even middle-aged yet, you're just getting there, you're in your 20s still, and you're wrecked with back pain. And when you meet someone who's gone through that and has that perseverance, one, the gratitude is there. There's a bond of just if you know, you know. It's so many silly things that only people here would understand, of fearing sneezing and the silly stuff you'd have to ask people to do for you and get someone to put your socks on and shit. And it's just it's cool to start being on the other side. And now you're getting on the other side with people who are also from there too. It's great that in your life you're going to be out of pain, and the goal is hopefully everyone in your life forgets you had chronic back pain. Hopefully your significant others, your best friends, your children, whoever, your parents, they all kind of forget, oh, you used to be the bad back person. That's the goal, they forget. But it's cool to also know that some people don't take it for granted with you, and they're damn, it's just cool to meet, and that's what the workshops are when we host those events. It's it does something to you, because the nature of the injury loop and trying to figure it out and being let down by the treatment is isolation. You feel very isolated and not understood. So the epitome of the opposite of that is going to the workshop, all working on it, feeling better, and you're surrounded by people who all are on this new string of hope. It's a crazy feeling. Just want to drop a big thank you. Been following for more than a year. Went from super back and hip pain to having nothing. I'm so glad I found your videos. That makes me so happy to hear. Mr. Fritton Tony. Grateful, man. That's beautiful. Or ma'am. I assume ma'am. But it means an absolute ton for me. Thank you so much. So happy. That's huge, Jesse. That's huge. Yeah. Yeah, when you're told, man, I don't slander doctors as a blanket thing, because that's so lame, right? That's how all prejudice works, right? You have enough evidence, you've been through it enough. This profession, this race, this gender, this type of person, this thing is always like this, and you make crazy things. And even you could say stereotypes are that way for a reason, because most of the times they're true. Fine. Remove the hate from your heart about it, though. Don't despise doctors, even if there's often things. Sometimes there's outliers, whatever. But disclaimer aside, I've even had more recent reminders, and I've been like, went to the doctor for just a checkup of something and heart stuff that I didn't really have any serious issues with. Palpitations. They misdiagnosed me with this serious ass arrhythmia. He's not even that interested. He's like, yeah, take this pain med, whatever. Not pain med. Take this blocker, beta blocker. And if that doesn't work, we'll do an ablation. I'm like, take this medicine till when? Forever. I'm like, what? Like being told at 28 and the way I live my life, like I don't fucking eat bread. Like I'll avoid the crazy. I'm so on point with so many things, and to hear, yeah, take a serious medicine for the rest of your life. And he's nonchalant, and I'm like, but what's the real root mechanism? Like, what's really happening? How do we try to like holistically treat the system so this doesn't occur? And it's just this sort of wait and see approach of like, well, if this doesn't work, we'll treat with something more aggressive. And if this doesn't work, we'll treat more aggressive. I'm like, I don't even care about that type of thinking. How do we get here? What tends to happen when you get here? Like, I want to know. I want you to be curious to ask why with me. I'm paying out of pocket too because I changed states. I don't have insurance here. So I'm paying thousands of dollars to sit and basically get no help. Then I become a little expert on all of it through myself for the next weeks of researching. I'm like stressed. And then I get a random call, voicemail. Hey, Brendan, actually I had the electrophysio specialist look at the EKGs and Holter again. You don't even have that arrhythmia. You're actually completely fine. Stop taking the medicine. I already wasn't taking it. And I'm just like, you see, this is what it was like with my back injuries. This is what it was like with so many issues. Yeah, right, Eric. They're just overwhelmed with people. It's the model isn't correct a lot of times. And I know the doctors are offering just simple solution treatments because the supply matches the demand. People are asking, fix me. 90% of people probably aren't pressing to know, let's get to the bottom of this. Let's try stuff. Let's really question, investigate. Let's trial and error. No. But it was just crazy to be like, exactly, not be able to tell why or even like think about it and refuse to do anything, and then you're just stuck. But if they're willing to do invasive procedures that can't be reversed, so we can't get to the bottom of this, but you can cut into it. So we're, damn, and so again, not blaming the whole field because I know that's not true. I have a lot of doctors in the program. I have a lot of people that become peers and mentors, and they reach out and huge support, and they treat patients with low back ability. They send people to the program. They do it themselves because they have spine issues. I know there's open-mindedness in like different types of humans who are doctors, but it's so, I don't know how I got on this rant, but you gotta be invested in your own health, and you gotta look for little pockets of community where there's a lot of wisdom. And hey, don't take everything verbatim. Take things with grains of salt. Realize everyone's on the cusp of finding the greatest thing, or they think something worked for them, but it didn't really yet, or they're not sure the long-term effects. You don't know if it'll apply to you, but you can always learn something from someone who's been through the same trail of things, and even if it's context. So same with the back community, same with the comment sections y'all got here, and you get to see throughout the lives people's reactions. And this isn't like the streaming world of gaming or entertainment. This comment section is full of people that have a very interesting struggle unifying them. If you didn't struggle with something, you wouldn't be here. And that's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? Like a lot of streaming and communities is formed off of like popularity of entertainment. It's a fun watch. Nothing wrong with that. No matter how funny I might think I am or how good my personality is, if y'all didn't struggle with the same thing, none of us would be here in this chat right now hanging out. So it's a pretty rare thing. And that's why like 60 people strong in this live has a whole different feeling than probably like come watch me play The Sims for 2 hours and like vicarious living through teenagers of whatever other streaming shit happens with thousands of people watching. It's like, I'm not even trying to judge that. I'm just saying. It's cool for me. I don't get to experience it all the same. But even when I'm at the events I host or I hang out with y'all live, I'm just like, it feels, in the Discord, thousands of people chatting, it feels good to just be in the room with y'all. Even though it's my room and I created it. Because this is seriously everything I wanted as a consumer, as a person, as a patient, as a person trying to figure answers. And like, I still pull fulfillment and enjoyment as if I'm watching this live, even though I'm the one talking. But it's, you know, I learn a lot from y'all, so I appreciate it, sincerely. Yeah, Neil, I heard a lot about the Easy Way series. I heard those are really solid. The easy way to stop fucking your back up. That's funny. That's funny. I love streaming. 62,000 views I got last night's stream. That's insane. You got a big gaming page? Mr. Drift? That's nuts. How the fuck you getting so many, like, totally happy for you. How do you get so many streams without a big page? Is it, oh. Is it because you're streaming the fights? So they're watching the fights with you? Hey, man. I'm just impressed. Respect. Oh, vertical feed. Respect. As a business owner, the sense of pride, yeah. Very surreal. It's very surreal. There's no app yet, Bike-O-Matic. It's all through the site, and then the Discord is prompted. If you remember, I'm assuming you are at this point, by the text. Open up LBA. I'll just show you how you get to the Discord. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong one. Oh yeah, I definitely gotta go to bed. To get in the Discord, so you sign in, enter LBA, and then group chat. Inside the group chat. And then boom. Once you sign in there, it'll lead you to the Discord. Anybody from Austin? I'm planning on doing, just so y'all know, the only thing I've planned soon in the U.S. for events is in Austin. It's not solidified yet, but I'm 90% certain I'm going to do it. A workshop probably next week. I appreciate that. Arcade Drift, I hear you. Oh, but it opens Discord in the web browser. I hear you. Well, I think that's just to link it. So keep it in the browser. Go through with that process. Once you're in the chat, once you have entered the low back ability server, and you're all good and linked, then I'm pretty sure you can open up your Discord app on your own, and then it will pop up in there. Are you familiar with Tim Ferriss? Yeah, he followed me a couple days ago. That's the 4-hour week guy, right? Well, I read his book a little while back. I live in Cali, Eric, so just trying to find a space in LA that makes sense. Ulnar nerve slipping. I'm not sure about that one, Mike. I never had ulnar nerve problems. I'm sorry, friend. Lastly, sup, man. I was a 16-year-old who was in the Zoom call and asked about leaving school for a while. I remember. How are you doing, friend? How's that going, my man? I didn't know Tim Ferriss had back problems. Makes sense. He followed me. It's usually a good assumption. If someone follows me, they have back problems. There's a lot of people you'd be surprised have back issues. Celebrities and people have trained, and like people that reach out that like everyone has back issues. It's insane. When should I add weights to the back extension? You should wait a bit. You should really make body weight reps feel good for at least a few months. All right, y'all. It's that time. It's that time. Yeah, the Joe Rogan episode will happen in the next 3 months. I feel it. I just feel it. There's no confirmation. He follows me. I never spoke to him, but I'm liking these lives and get the practice and speaking into the community and staying sharp on all of it. Yeah, Jesse, that was my exact reaction when Dax hit me up, being 17 and seeing all this stuff, and then he reached out. I was like, oh, that's crazy. All right, y'all. Another day. Tomorrow will be a much earlier live, but this was cool. I think I might sleep tonight. It'll be smooth, straight to bed. Appreciate y'all hanging out. I hope you got some value from it and got some context and info, if not some inspo for your own healing journey. If you ever need me, hit me up on the Discords. The best bet. It's really the best bet. And if not, hit my DMs and try to get a hold of me as needed. I'll see y'all in here. And rest up wherever you are in the world. Enjoy your day. Appreciate it, y'all. Tuning out. And the 2 winners, you'll be getting emailed by Eddie. You might already did it, but probably tomorrow. Appreciate it, y'all. I see all the messages. I'm reading it. Absolutely. All right. Good night.